Director.
I can't believe you got that top one.
No, Pete's saying that, right?
Good evening, and welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast.
And we're
smiling
welcome
tonight.
back as if we've just been for a break. We're back.
Well, for 7 days, 7-day break.
Yeah.
We're
7
back
day
after a week, aren't we?
A week.
So, and what a week it's been.
Oh, Christ, aye.
Is it?
Well, this is the 2 new signings with the new strike force here.
Aye.
This was not planned either. I apologise in advance.
I cannot move around the pitch very well,
Yeah.
but you know.
I didn't know you had that top on. But
We'll have a temporary loan signing for the next 30 minutes or so, maybe.
Aye, because I've got
A
to
little
get back
bit
and get
longer.
to bed. Bloody hell.
you
So
got
we've
the
got.
I've got it, aye.
bed?
3:15 alarm.
Oh, was it?
Then I...
Are you here just for a chat, or are we going to get on with it?
Well, if you want to get on with it, get on with it.
Well, I'm trying to, but you're just sitting
all
around having a bit
all
of
the
gossip,
blokes.
yeah.
All the blokes. Jesus.
But yes, Daryl is with us tonight. Chris has gone on a beer run to get some more drinking because we are in for the long haul tonight. We're going for 4 hours.
Is it just me that's brought the car, is it?
No, I've got the car as well. So,
I've got it. I'll still be drinking. 5 and driving.
but yes, besties here as ever.
As ever.
As ever.
Yeah, except for those ones I wasn't here for.
Looking resplendent.
Well, I'm the reason the Dean Henderson thing fell through. I bumped into Murdad in a club shop and he goes, if you get that, I'll tell you how you're in. So I tell him I'm the fourth man of the day. Slightly, not quite as tall as Dan Byrne, but I've got my own gloves.
Not far off.
No, not too much. No.
And Daryl, as we've just said, is here for Chris. Decker,
I'm just here to argue with you, mate.
no, some things never change.
Not tonight. I think it's going to be. It's going to be nice tonight.
No, it's not.
I think so. Oh, we'll see.
Will be.
You came here for an argument, did you? What kind of argument did you come for?
Just whichever kind's going or not
Anything,
often.
yeah. Anything that's coming.
We'll see.
So, but yes, we are here for 4 hours tonight. Going to be talking about all things transfer window, watching it through until, as they say on Sky Sports, it slams shut.
I hate that.
Well,
Do they still do?
It's not a real window.
Do they do the Big Ben things? They don't know now, will they? They used to do a Big Ben thing where.
No, I do because it's just had a lick of paint on it.
Oh, well, maybe they will. Maybe
they took the scaffolding and all that down
That's
now,
what-
have they?
yeah.
You know what it is? One of my best mates is in charge of that.
Really?
You know what I had to do it? You know how everyone goes, oh, it's just a bit gold and it looks a bit... It was falling over.
Was it?
How Big Ben was... The tower was slowly starting to...
Actually, I remember
It's
hearing
been
about that.
2 or 3
aye.
years it's been up for it.
Right.
It's
Okay.
coming down now, but they're going to have to shut the bridge and all sorts in a few months' time for it. So it's
You see, the things you learn on this show. It's just no one
It's
people
slowly,
watch.
because it's on the riverbank, and I'm not a builder, but I think the foundations are a bit...
Aye.
And it's slowly starting to go, so they've had to
Prop
get
it
it
up.
up.
Well-
It's just being a lick of paint.
There we go then. Because
Oh,
yes,
no,
so
I've
when
got a video on New Year's, when the chimes went, I've got a video from the bell itself. Not bell, but from Big Ben and all that. I was like, fucking, that's... shows you,
class, mate, class.
I tell you what, I've been in the Houses of Parliament and that, and I've never seen so much gold leaving all my life. It's
Aye.
been tremendous.
It's been like, you know, there's only a handful of, I think, might be in the House of Lords. No, I forget which one it is now. But they've got, you know, the benches they have.
Aye.
There's only a couple that have got the armrests on it,
Yeah.
and that's because they were for the clergy, and they didn't want them getting like falling off pissed.
Aye.
So they put those armrests on so they wouldn't slide up the ends drunk. Because all they do is get wrecked.
Aye.
It's fucking, it's class. I think. That's not really.
It's breaking news now on Sky as well. That we just
breaking news. Big Ben has fell over.
He's just retired, bless him.
That's what they said, Boris.
He's just retired, bless him.
Out with an injury.
But we have got some other breaking news. I don't know how official this is at the moment, but apparently there has been lots of talk today about Jeff Hendrick going off on loan to Borough. But Dan has just informed us in the chat that Big Jeff might be going to QPR now.
Apparently so, yes.
So that's one to watch.
Well,
There's been a few little things since we've started about Lewis, Hendrick, Clark. Clark isn't going to go to Borough apparently.
I do not want him.
He's just going to not be signed up in the squad.
Wow,
And it's just in our WhatsApp now. Apparently, is it now? Or is that the one I can't read out because it's to do with? Jamal Lewis doesn't want to get registered.
He doesn't want to
be
I
registered.
doesn't fancy it, that guy. I wonder if he's had his nose put out of joint by Mighty Target signing or something like that.
Oh, I'm quite surprised at that. Like,
thought he
Well,
was
actually,
supposed to go
I
out
need
That's
on
what
loan.
Clark says, like, so.
I need to ask Mark a question because I seen something you put in earlier on. You said that you didn't feel you thought you would have rather started Lewis over Target.
yeah, I would. I'd have Lewis ahead of
I
Target.
do like Lewis.
For me, obviously, we have signed Target on loan till the end of this season. has been chatted about whether or not there'll be an option to buy in there. So I think that, I don't know if that's came out yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen
So we'll still need to find out on that one, but it might be just a straightforward loan until the end of the season. But yeah, I think Lewis, when fit, obviously he has been out for a couple of months. It feels like probably longer. I think he just gives. He's definitely one more for the future. Target had a fantastic season last season at Villa. He got Player of the Year, but he's just really, really struggled this season. Hence, they've gone out and signed Digna from Everton. So it's a little bit of a gamble for us because he hasn't been in great form. But I think if he can capture his form that he showed last season for Villa, then yes, he's definitely a very good player.
Would you say then if he captures that form, is he an upgrade on what we have there currently?
What we have there currently, i.e. Richie and
Dummett,
having to play Manquillo there and Dummett, he's definitely upgrade on that.
Manquillo did very well.
Manquillo was brilliant in the last game, against Leeds.
But he was, but that was only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We're talking, we need someone to be doing it for 30 games or whatever, do you know what I mean? But that's not me to dig out Manquillo by any stretch. But Lewis is a bit, I don't know if I've seen enough good of him, if that makes sense. I don't think he's a bad player.
I just struggled last season in particular early
massively,
on. He did,
and I know a lot of people thought maybe, was that down to Bruce or whatever, whatever. But and he did look a bit better when he came back into the side, and were happier because it was someone that could actually physically run with the ball.
Yeah,
he had a bit more defensive awareness than what Richie had, obviously, because it's his position. And I think we were all getting a little bit excited, thinking, "Oh, maybe this is the Lewis that we've signed, or that we wanted to see." But personally, I'm really happy with Target, to be honest. And I know we're after him. We were trying to get him last time, didn't we? But he didn't come. He went to Villa, didn't he? When we were trying to get him then. So, I'm pretty pleased, me personally.
So the story in the chat is that it's Lewis and Clark have turned down loans, and that's why they're not getting named in the 25-man squad. So Clark, I'm probably not surprised on him not being in the 25, but Lewis is a shock for me.
Because you look at the centre halves you've got Burn hasn't officially signed yet, but
he will.
Yeah. And you've got Lascelles, you've got Fernandez, who hasn't played. I don't even know he's making Chinese bloody what they called?
Origami?
No. What?
Origami?
Oh, is it origami then? Is that some sort of sushi?
Oh, dim sum.
Dim sum with Big Joe and Little Ryan.
Little Ryan.
I saw that. He's busy doing that. I wonder if he's burnt himself and he's had to have some time off or something but Clark, he's been in the first team recently ahead of other centre halves. Fabian Schär's there as well. So you think, well, is there that much of does the club think that there's that much of a difference between Clark, Lascelles, Fernandez? Because they are kind of the ones that are, for me, fighting for the same position almost. Yeah. Ideally be on the bench now, right? But I don't know.
I don't know if he might have done himself any favours by tuning the lad over in Jeddah last week.
Yeah, that fella. Strange how move that one is.
Do you think that is a sign of frustration of maybe what's going on behind the scenes? I'm not saying that. If I was said to him, listen, thanks for your time, but I'm thinking about loaning you out. And maybe he might be over there thinking, what am I here for? What's the point? I'm here. I'm playing. You've played us against these lot, and he's lashed out and retaliated. Because that's not Clark. I've never seen Clark.
I've never
act like that before.
It's not.
It was really out of character. And all I'm saying is it frustration from another angle, and he's obviously shown it.
I think that the problem you've got is the footage that we've seen is from miles away, isn't it?
It is.
You can't really see what's happened on there, other than there being a bit of a melee. I think the fact that he has reacted in that way, there's been something that's really wound him up in order to do that.
It was as if the lad had called him something, more than just a foul. It looked more than just a coming together for him to react that way.
But whether there's been a sly dig in there or something, or
maybe something before that, maybe that we haven't seen. Obviously, we've only seen that one little clip.
But I think it's safe to say of the central defenders that we've got there at the club and available at the minute, that I think we'd all agree that Clark would be the one that we would probably.
I think so.
Out.
Definitely at the minute, who's left there, I think he's him and Lascelles for me. And obviously Lascelles is a club captain, so it's a bit more complicated to kind of put him on. But if you look at who I mentioned earlier, Burn, Lascelles, Clark, Schär, Fernandez, Clark and Lascelles are the two. Dummett, you can even count that number really. You're going to play him as a left-sided centre half.
You're hoping that this is the start, though. As I said, the night we got taken over about getting rid of the players. You know, I think, did you say it last week about strengthening your poorest player or the poorest area?
Right.
And like, this is almost, we've had that little quartet of centre halves for about 50 years, it feels.
Since we came up with
and it feels like this is the start. There's one gone, there's a new person in. I mean, let's all hope he'd be better than Clark. We'll all hope. I haven't seen much of him personally, but I know he's a big lad. Seems to come with a good reputation. He's obviously a fan, which I love personally. So
I've seen a lot of Brighton fans. I say half dozen or so, but some Brighton fans on Twitter saying like, but didn't think he would be. When we signed him, we didn't expect him to become what he did for Brighton.
Well, it's
and
good,
they wish him all the best and all that. Like, so it's been nice to see that. And you kind of think, well, we're getting a good honest player there. Like, centre half surprisingly quick for someone that height. I've always said I was really slow because I'm so tall.
That's what it was. Best
Surely the extra length in your legs would help you cover more ground.
It's the extra width in my legs.
I didn't want to say that, but
friction between the two.
Oh, talc. Get a bit of talc in there.
Oh no, that's not where ones with the Velcro. The Velcro's fucking the opposite of Velcro.
I was going to say they only run so
like that kind of things to the middle.
Nice. I think I've got a pair of them on now.
Good duds, them like.
I beg your pardon.
A pair of mine, I was wondering.
He's been robbing them off you.
Nobody here. He's that guy missing.
I think it's important, like, you know, we're talking about all this is like one of the things that we had to really expect out of all of this would be that we'd get to the end of the window and would enter this scenario where we would have players who we wouldn't be able to get to go out on loan. And the only option would have been is what's happening now, where we're just going to deregister and they're just going to sit there for the next 4 months until the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if we did the same with Hayden while he recovers. And I think get him back to full fitness, give him the last month and a half of the season just to be steady in training with his full fitness and just crack on and then review that in the summer. But for me, I would seriously give it consideration given what we've got in midfield at the minute.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
We were talking about this more earlier on.
I think it's a good 3 months actually because the type of surgery he's had, so it would take him pretty much the end of the season.
To get back with the speed could be a bit of a thing as well. I mean, I said that this morning thinking that we're going to get one of Vetekite or Lingard, and if we're not going to, then maybe we don't need to kind of be as drastic. It looks like, I mean, we're going to be starting out. Now it is, I would go for Defoe May, not just to wind them up, but I think it's better than Dwight Gale.
Give over, man. The man's 40-year-old.
It doesn't make a difference. He was 40-year-old playing for West Ham in the Premier League, doing well as well.
He would never come to us, so what he was with the relationship.
He's got a big thing with something with the Bradley Lowery thing and all that. Like, fair play, like it's. There's part of it is I'm obviously not a Southern man at all, but part of it is I'm quite like to see him go back there just because it's just nice. It's a nice story.
Well, you've been very kind to them there.
I think it's a bloody hilarious story.
No. Well, I actually seen a room the other day. They weren't sure if it might be player coach.
I've seen that.
You see that? Yeah, because obviously they sacked him, haven't they? And obviously Johnson did. This is not a Sunderland podcast, but they didn't want him. And they've blooded him now, and I wonder if he's going to come in as.
I saw that earlier on, saying that now Johnson's gone, he could be going there. And I was like, well, I wonder if that means.
Johnson
they've had a falling out.
There must have been a bit of resistance from his end, shouldn't it?
I don't think he's ever played for him.
No, I from what I'd heard, the lads I was talking to, they were saying that he can't handle big characters. And
Johnson's because he's so small.
Probably, yeah.
He's about the same size as
Defoe. It's too.
But it's interesting what you say though about like I actually agree. I don't see the point in giving Hayden a number, but I don't because he's not going to be fit.
He's not going to be fit. I wouldn't,
so I just wonder if like, I mean, get rid of Hendrick all you want, like, but if you're giving him a squad number where he can't even play, let's just say we're drastically in trouble. I mean, you'd hope it would never happen, but at least Hendrick can actually physically play for you in the next 4 months or 3 months, whatever it is. I don't know.
I think it's just a case of you needing to clear people out of the squad, aren't you, to make room in there.
But Hayden would be.
I think it makes sense, doesn't it? With like what you're saying, Hayden, he's going to be out for the majority of the remainder of this season. I think there's probably, in all likelihood, he probably still will be taken out of it. And to free up some more space in there, the fact that we have brought in the players that we have, we've also brought Matty Longstaff back. I don't think he'll take up a squad number because of his age.
It was a bit of a nightmare at Aberdeen from anyway, apparently. It
didn't go well at all. Good at all. I just want to know how excited are you turned on to watch Bruno?
Oh man!
Don't worry, there's a full section coming on Bruno
about Bruno.
We will be talking about Bruno.
Are you gonna get the photo album out, like?
That's for my purposes only.
But
let's just say very Decker.
Hence
the front of the desk tonight.
Yes, I thought maybe for Big Joe, but no, I'm kidding. I know it was for.
I didn't notice that.
I only noticed. I didn't notice when I come in. I only noticed when I looked at the screen. I know. I think I was hoping. I don't want to be negative because it's been it's been amazing really for the window because we never spend anything in January very rarely other than that one little flourish Ashley had in
2012
when we bought every Frenchman that could play. But I think Lingard is a shame. It is a shame because I really thought that would get him. And I thought Man United might have give in towards the end.
I did as well. I wonder if what's gone on the last couple of days has kind of made them think, well, we're a man down.
That's true.
Do you think there's any chance it might still happen? I mean, it's only 10 to 8.
It's just with them saying so categorically. Unless we went back with something ridiculous, which, let's be fair, the initial things are... I mean, Jeff, I don't know, you see so much stuff, but Jeff Stanton said on Saturday that they wanted, and I could be wrong here, I'm only saying what he said, £12 million up front and then another 12 million if we stayed up. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, hang on. £24 million?
That's a lot for 5 months.
Is it 6 months? Is it 6 months?
4? It's not even that.
It's not even 6, is it?
I think it's technically June, but obviously the season doesn't.
Exactly. I was just, that's insane.
We'll be done by the middle of May, so you're only really talking three and a bit months.
It's just nonsense, isn't it? Really. I mean, I know someone might turn and say, "Well, it's not my money," and if he scores the goals, that keeps up. He's worth every penny, but it's not worth 24 million on alone. Like it's just not like for me anyway.
So obviously we've got the incomings that we've got. That does mean more outgoings. So we've got Bruno that's came in.
Yep.
Full feature coming later. Dan Burn, we're expecting it to be announced some point when we're on air.
Late one, that isn't it?
Late. He didn't turn up late for his his medical.
I think he was just doing Jaeger. Was his family just getting pissed?
So he's been out in Blythe all last night. Yeah. Target confirmed. So and then obviously we've already brought in Wood and Trippier. So that's five signings that we've made across the month. So we already had a full squad. So we need to find 5 spaces in that squad. So Hendrick, you expect to be 1. Talk about Clark and Lewis. So that gives within 3.
Woodman gone.
Hayden possibly the 4th, and then Woodman is your 5th. So as things stand, that would be the squad that we go ahead with.
Probably. I'll mention Dwight Gale. I don't know if is he in the thoughts at all? I mean, now that Keaton's not coming, and unless we put a late thing in for a striker, you'd imagine now, or a forward player, it's going to have to be domestic rather than going abroad for someone. So.
I think he'll get a reprieve now. Like I think he'll stay in the squad for the last season.
Throw everything. Mikel Antonio. There you are.
That dream might happen one day. I think the only iron in the fire from a striker point of view is Zapata, isn't it? That's the name that's been
certainly
around
for the prices
at the minute. But
I don't think that meant necessarily that was any interest. I think that was just all they could have done this.
Yes,
like a bullseye when you get the speedboat. I didn't. I think it was a bit like, why didn't go? I don't think Keith was saying, they could go for Zapata. I think it was just kind of like, he's available. But you'd imagine they would have known.
Yeah.
And they just chose not to go for him. Thing is, the partners would think, God, I really hope they go for him. I hadn't heard of him until about a fortnight ago.
I don't know.
I've never watched him play football.
It's been the case with a few of the lads who've been linked with this window.
Bruno?
Aye.
I've seen some YouTube videos of it.
I'm going to spend the rest of my week researching half the lads we've brought in.
The videos of Etiquette this morning, I was looking on YouTube. I thought, well, a lot of these are like these touches a little bit off, and that I'd have been buzzing if I got him, but
it was a lot of money to pay. I thought for the amount of games he's played for them, and he's very young. And I know you're looking for the future on that, but it is a lot of money. I thought personally for what it was. And we'll discuss it in our group. I can understand why he hasn't wanted to come. If I'm being honest, like he's just a young kid. I think if we were sitting 8th though or 9th in the division, I think he might come.
Well,
but seeing where we are,
I sniffed around. So being a young French lad, he's going to probably want to be that kind of pass.
Do you know, like,
we'll just get in about it.
Do you think he's going to develop as much at PSG?
No, definitely not. But
I think that's his main concern about coming here, isn't it?
The development. It's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, he might not get as much first team football, but if you're training alongside Mbappe and Neymar, Messi's at PSG at the minute. Yeah, that's gonna rub off on you. You're gonna kind of learn a few things, aren't you? I don't know who plays for Reims. It sounds very dismissive of it, but if you're a young French lad, it's the same as like I don't know, a young Englishman going to Chelsea. Or that's Steve Sidwell. Maybe he's the French Steve Sidwell. Here we are.
Do you know who it reminds me of? Louis Saha when we signed him.
Right.
Raw talent, and we didn't stick with him long enough.
No, I think Sahar probably had a bit more about him at that time. I think it is a very, very young age, 19-year-old. He's only played this season realistically for Rem. It would be a big gamble for us to go with him, obviously for the money that was being talked about as well. Up to up to 33 million. I think it would have worked out with all the bonuses and stuff like that. So, you know, we've been burnt a little bit in the past with kind of big signings from France.
Yeah, I think
Cabela, Tovan are the ones. Yeah, well, I think that was a bit more desperation, but
he was the new Henry, wasn't he?
Aye.
He played at Monaco with who was it Monaco with? Mbappe? You know, someone else that was there at the time, Falcao maybe.
Falcao,
it was kind of
Remy would have been around. Was that before or after he went there as well?
He had good stats. He had good he had when you researched him, you're like, oh, he's done really well at Monaco. But it's the leagues, man. I mean, you're coming from the French league to the Premier League. It's the difference is huge. It's absolutely huge. Now, obviously, Kabay, for example, just rocked up and was just a Rolls Royce almost from minute one.
Ironically, he went back to France and couldn't get a game.
That is correct. Yes. But yeah, you know, it's just the one thing I will say is that I've said this before previously when we had Ashley. You know, other clubs out there would buy someone for like 40, 50 million or whatever, right? And it didn't work. It didn't matter that it didn't work. Does that make sense? Yeah. They just bought another one.
Aye.
And what I felt for us was like, if we spend 25 on someone, fucking hell, if he doesn't work, we're in big trouble. You know what I mean? Whereas now, obviously, if we stay in the division, of course, it doesn't matter really. Like if we buy a player for 20 million, it doesn't work. All right, well, next one. Like,
I think the financial fair play.
It is, but I think we'll be fine.
And it's a nice thing to have to worry about.
Yes,
because it's not been a concern about us at all.
No.
Since it come in, like,
yeah.
It's almost nice to kind of think, oh well, we spent that much already that we might end up kind of tipping about. But I mean, we're nowhere near, are we? I think we were saying yesterday in the group it goes over there. It's not like you spent £100 million in a window and that's £100 million instantly gone from you.
Yeah, it's over the across the contract. Yeah. Well, speaking of spending money, Josh has put a lovely comment in there and sent me a little gift. So Josh says, "Hi lads, just checking in. I'm so pleased we no longer have to say it's transfer deadline day, or as Newcastle fans call it, Monday." So yes, we've had 14 years of that joke. So it's good. He's absolutely buzzing with the business that we've done, and he hopes we're all well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we are, Josh. Thank you.
Yes, Josh,
I'll tell you what. So talking about 14 years there, so we've pretty much exceeded our spend in this window alone for January than we have in all the Januaries under Mike Ashley. How good's that?
Together, yeah.
It's mental, isn't it?
Berserk,
well, I kept seeing things today as well about like the obviously the spend that's for January window, and you had like us number one, and then like so Barcelona's and that, and it was just it was just mad. And for all when we knew the takeover happened, that this moment would probably happen.
Yeah.
Still very strange to see us be that high and things like that, spending money. You know,
we still had a great January window when we got like Fitzhall, Leon Best, Williamson, Danny Simpson,
Leon Best. Come on, let's sign him back. Let's get him back now.
I got Leon Best.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Leon Best or Darryl Murphy for me, like.
Big does I
think the difference was yes, we got a lot of bodies through the door, but didn't necessarily have the quality. Obviously, Leon Best turned out to be quite the astute signing in the end of things, but I think it was more.
Did you like him? Did you, Mark?
Yeah.
Oh,
Danny Simpson won the league a few years later.
He did.
I
didn't mind Danny Simpson. You know,
I thought it was all right. Not a very nice person by all accounts, but
I don't even think we have to say allegedly on that one, do we?
I like the kind of keep your powder dry. Just in case someone gets litigious.
I heard he kept his powder dry, actually. All right.
But we are going to be talking about not just the Newcastle transfer business, although that will be the main topic of conversation. We will, of course, have to cover the other stuff that's going on Sky Sports. So the big breaking news that we've got on there is the man that did a Peter Odemwingie today.
Oh, you mean he didn't go and see his family?
Well, allegedly, he just took a trip to Barcelona to go and visit his grandma and auntie. But magically, Barcelona have now agreed a deal to sign Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who famously, played for Newcastle that time. Remember that? But that's
he was that name that was. When I say linked, I say that loosely because I think it was just one of them, just a higher name, wasn't it? Really. Would you have took him? Yeah. Because there was loads. No, but there was loads of people saying no.
Well, there's one person around the table definitely wouldn't.
I wouldn't have. Just his character, man. You don't want that kind of character around you in the situation we're in. He's not built for the kind of fight that we need for the rest of the season. He's done what he's done at Arsenal. He's broken whatever rules, and he's certainly pissed Arteta off to a degree where he wants him out the door now. So it's not the kind of person I'd want to see around the club. Same with Dele Alli as well. There's something wrong with that character.
But Remy was an arsehole.
That's very true.
He was a bloody good arsehole.
He was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's a nice arse and that, you know. But like, no, but I take what you're saying, because I think Howe's obviously trying to build up. He's very much on this team unity thing, isn't he, and bonding and like all that type of jazz. And I think if someone's maybe not pulling in that direction, maybe obviously he's not going to work. But based on quality, bloody hell, I'd take him tomorrow. Well, I'll take him now.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, somebody is messing on with the camera in the background, so we have temporarily lost the picture. So
it's Eddie Howe's hat. That's what's done it.
Hopefully,
we're back.
We are back on now.
That was ridiculous. That hat, mind.
This is what happens when you
don't need for a hat that big.
It just didn't look right, did it at all? No.
Yeah. Yes, Eddie Howe's hat is back in the building. Actually, he's got it on tonight.
It's not. Chris is much better than Eddie Howe.
Chris got a bigger head than Eddie Howe.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, fear you not. Chris is back. He has brought supplies. So,
how can I have a beer, please?
Speaking of hats, did you see that monstrosity Bez had on last night? I didn't.
What,
watch
John
it.
Beresford?
No, Bez from Happy Mondays. He had this hat on for Dancing Nice. Not that I was watching. I just seen a picture.
He's wearing a helmet.
But it was dressed as a hat.
Well, he's Indiana Jones.
It wasn't Peter Check style helmet, was it?
No, well, obviously he's crap, basically. So they've I crap, aren't I?
Is he not that ice dancer, Bez? Because he's ready on a firm.
Well, he can't ice skate. So they've hired a helmet on him because obviously he'd kill himself, you know. Right. So he had a helmet on last night, painted brown with the Indiana Jones cap on, like hat on top of that, and it did look absolutely. Not that I watched Dancing on Ice, like.
No, same.
But anyway, back to football.
I think we might be having some image issues. So Chris is in the background here trying to fiddle with it. Maybe Chris might be the image issue in this, but hopefully you'll get it fixed. But if you can still hear that's all.
I keep thinking you've got those rubbers that you used to get at school where they said one side rubs out pen and one side rubs out pencil. I keep on thinking that's what Mark's got plugged in the bottom of his phone.
Oh,
because it looks like a blue and pink affair.
There you go for the camera. Not that anybody.
No, he doesn't mean that. He means the splitter for the charger and the headphones.
Oh, one of them. Right. Oh, right.
Yeah, IKEA specials, man.
But yes, we do have audio later on, so we have got some special guests appearing on the show. So we'll be having a number of people dropping into the chat as we go through the night. As I say, across the next 3 hours. So you've got your normal lads with us, plus some special guests that'll join us live, and also some recorded messages as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know about this.
Oh, so yeah.
I'm quite excited about that.
So I didn't know what recorded ones like.
Recorded is it like
it's like birthdays, when they can't be here for like award ceremonies and that. It's like that.
Oh, nice one.
They just sent us in some little recordings just to say,
it looked like Pogo.
Hi lads, sorry you couldn't be there tonight.
I'm not reporting on Fatty Sandland.
Just neck and white.
Did you see them last weekend? He put the video of talking about Sunderland doing Newcastle. It was when the Sunderland podcast was a couple of them going, why don't you do more about Sunderland? You fucking humanist pricks. Yeah. I can't believe you didn't talk more about Sunderland.
Well, maybe if they had more to talk about.
Oh, I tell you what, I can't stand. Is that bloke? What's he called?
Cavi.
Goodness me. Why does he talk like an idiot?
Sky Sports cover.
He can't talk properly. There's something going on there. And he's really cocky as well. No, he wasn't like that when he first joined. Now he's got his... have you heard him speak before?
He pauses
constantly, doesn't he? He's probably a Tory.
He's very pronounced with his words and his vocabulary.
Yeah. Them two normally are right, go to each other, don't they? He's
a national broadcaster. He's got to have he's got to be like understandable.
Oh, he's understandable, but in a weird way.
Yeah.
But he's not the best.
Not relatable.
He's not the best. So think of January. I had another question for you. Full of questions tonight. Bestie, what's your best or favourite January transfer signing that we have done?
Ever?
Well, let's say Ashley. Because you'll go all the way back to the 70s or something, and Hoyer's with some left back from Oxford or something. I'll be like, sorry, I didn't.
Back when he was in his 20s.
No. Who was? I mean, it was the first January. Ryan Taylor was a pretty good one. Apparently, he's on a podcast at some point.
Oh, I mean, I've seen him.
I don't have True Faith or something like that.
Beep. He's been on once or twice. I don't know if you've seen them.
But he was like one who kind of you look at players who come in and kind of obviously we went down the year he came. Him and Nolan both came the same. I think within a couple of days of each other. Yeah, and he kind of stuck around, got the goal against Sunderland. He's become like a cult hero, like .
Well, he also One of the things I remember mostly, of course, the goal for Sunderland, but he moved position. I remember we had to put him in left back because we lost Enrique, didn't we, at that time?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're playing at the start of the Premier League with him at left back, and I'm like, bloody hell.
I remember one
and
game.
He just seemed to be no bother.
One game away at Norwich, we played 4 fullbacks at the back. It was, I'm sure it was like Santon, Murphy, Simpson, Santon, Ryan Taylor, and like Enrique or something like that. Like we got before 4-2, we got pumped.
It's difficult.
Pardew,
almost like Pardew, like playing with. We played 17 left backs. It
was Pardew.
Got coined with that one, didn't he? Did you play left back?
Well, Ryan Taylor was a good one for me. You look at the French lads that came in. I mean, none of them, for all Sissoko, hit the ground running.
Chelsea.
That debut was.
Yeah.
That wasn't his debut.
Well,
it was
Villa was his debut.
He still played well, yeah, wasn't that one?
But none of them you would say were like an unqualified success. Haidara didn't last that long. Yanga and B were kind of in and out of the team. Gouffran was, I thought Gouffran was all right, but he got a bit of a hard time. Got that.
Chris loved Gouffran.
He broke the record for the most consecutive home games.
Yeah.
Scored at that volley at Derby was
amazing.
It would still going. If it wasn't for the net, that would still be like conversing. But I
thought Gouffran did amazing considering the price we paid. It was under $1 million, and everyone thought, "Oh, he'll be shite." And I thought he was great. He worked really hard. Unfortunately, as time went on, we asked him to be more and more negative. When he first came, he was picking the ball up and was scoring goals, but then he all of a sudden becomes this defensive winger that just didn't want to go forward. But.
Yeah.
So Callum in the comments with a great shout. Mikel Merino.
Was he a January signing? He came in the.
Was he?
No, I don't think he was. He was the pre-season the year we came.
No,
on.
did he not come in January?
Did he not come on loan?
He came on loan.
Did he not come on loan and then we signed him?
We activated the clause pretty quick, didn't we? I think.
That rings a bell for me.
I would need that confirmed because I'm sure he was here at the start.
Somebody will tell when they.
That's
probably the lad that just said it.
He definitely played for at the start of that season because I was in the box the day he scored his header against Palace. I was not in the penalty box. I was in.
He was a lovely player.
Oh, he was. He's doing very well.
Renato Sanchez in his back pocket at Swansea away. Bloody hell!
I remember that. I was with first.
Yes, because they were big enough. That's right. Yeah, they were. Up his arse.
Was he the Benfica?
They were buying or Benfica. I was Benfica. Yeah,
he hadn't long before that won the European Cup with Portugal as well. Hadn't he? Very highly rated.
You're right.
So Keegan's going for the one that I have to choose. Obviously, same.
Yeah,
like he's when you think January signings and you know the impact that they have.
10 years ago,
he's got to be up there.
A scorer of great goals, not a great goal scorer apart from the 12 and 13.
It was so strange how he started off. Everything he hit went in the back of the net.
Oh yeah.
But then he didn't. The second season, he didn't score until 1 minute off his arse against West Brom in like October, November time. He was such a streaky player, like really bizarre. Then he was yeah. But then him and Demba Ba tried to accommodate, and they'll put one out wide and one through them. And then
Demba moved out to the left, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Before he went to Chelsea.
That one was I absolutely love Cisse, by the way. I just love him. But that was a tough one for Ba because I loved Ba. And I thought, you're just shelving him out to the left here.
And he had a great start that season as well.
He was really
brilliant. But then were really good times, though. I mean, as bad as we all knew it was, but
I remember that
it was good times.
The Man U game at home was January the 4th, and it was the day that the syrup thing happened.
Yeah,
It was just like party time. Yeah, it was brilliant. That was probably the best. In fact, not even probably, they were the best days of the actually.
Oh yeah,
and I mean it's a low bar, but they were like genuinely.
Is that the Kabay free kick one as well?
Yeah, Kabay free kick, Phil Jones one goal. Demba Ba, I think, scored one over his shoulder.
Shola chested it down for him, didn't he?
Shola again. Every great goal. He assisted. You know, like these pictures with someone going, Keanu Reeves was alive in the 1700s, so we're painting some like Renaissance is Keanu Reeves. And Shola's like that for us. You think all these goals, like I think the fastest goal was scored in the cup final in 55. I'm sure Shola knocked it down for Jackie Milburn, and he's just struck.
I tell you one that I did love was. Well, there's one I did like because I've always liked him, but Andros Townsend I thought was he did very well. That window we needed to do something, otherwise we're going down. Ashley tried. I say tried. Sorry, I'll take that back. But he spent a bit of money. But we got Jonjo, and I was thrilled when we got Jonjo and his debut against West Ham.
Would you say
I still have wanks about that pasta, man? Still now.
Would you say Jonjo overall's been a success?
I'm going to say yes. Yeah.
Mark?
For 14 million, yes, I will. 14.4 million, I'll say yes.
He hasn't, has he?
I think he's
average with moments of brilliance, interspersed with some terrible form.
Well, hello. Get the camera.
Hey, Beefy's turned up.
Darryl, what do you reckon? John Joe, success?
I'm going to make his body.
That's exactly what happened.
It's a good job this camera hasn't turned the other way because we've just had a topless man in the corner.
I do enjoy the fact that Mark's normally the only one to wear a Newcastle shirt for a podcast.
And I'm the only one.
And you're the only one not in brand new merch today.
I feel like I better pop over to St. James and get myself some Castor gear.
Mark saying, I think I agree with Mark about Shelby. Like, there's been moments of brilliance, but there's been some shocking form in there as well.
But I think it's not many players you couldn't say that for.
That's true
for us. Like, is there a player that's been consistent every game and every week and every month and every year?
Yeah, you're right.
There isn't.
No, there's not. You're right.
There just isn't because we're shite. Let's be fair, we've been shite, and I think he's been one of the better of the shite. I think.
I'm with Decker. I think he has. I think he's.
I'm best.
We're not going. He's a pretty big part of the championship season. Got all back up, and if we're still up this year, he's going to be a big part of that as well.
Yep.
He started well under Howe. I mean, you kind of just draw a line under everything.
This season, give him his dues. He's been very good since Howe came in.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we still up this year, and I think we will, it's a bit in the balance. I'm a little bit worried that Guimaraes might end up being like this year's Wijnaldum. Although one that come later in the year, like, but
who? Stefan Givosh.
Bruno, we'll say Bruno. You can't even. How dare you?
Saying Bruno,
of all the blokes again, you
Guimaraes.
Guimaraes. Bruno. I'm just going to go with Bruno.
Bruno G.
I don't want to disrespect the man. But yeah, I've got that thing where I think if Lingard isn't, by all accounts, isn't going to happen now, and Etiquette
still 2 hours and 3/4.
Oh, it could happen, but it looks like it's dead in the water now. The way people are talking, like
Almiron was the one in January, 21 million. Almiron.
Well, there's been a few.
So he's been a success, Mickey.
You might hear some clicks in the background of the audio as well, because we've got Gareth here with us this evening, taking some photos as he likes to do occasionally.
He's doing his West Side Story.
He's around in the background, clicking away, taking our photos, hopefully making them look beautiful. But Gareth, I'm going to put you on the spot, even though people can't see you. Who's your favourite January signing? Cisse? Yeah. Good shout. Chris, I was here. Dubravka's another one.
Yeah.
Obviously, Willock.
Dubravka was a deadline day one.
He came in last January on loan, and we all know what happened there.
Kennedy?
No, he was there from the start of the season, wasn't he?
No, it was on here January.
No, it was January.
Was
and
it really? Is that right?
The following season, didn't
Yeah, I'm sorry, Darryl.
Mind you, there's some shockers here.
Chris, give away a name from the background. Cisse as well.
All these goals, like the two against Chelsea, the one against Villa, Norwich, Southampton. He couldn't have hit a ball like.
Joe Willock, obviously, of course, that's the most recent one. Just Danny Rose was on there. There was Lazaro. There was Bentaleb.
Danny Rose was awful.
That was a bad window. Looking back, like
no thanks.
Bentaleb, yeah. Who I think one of the first times I seen him thought, he looks quite a confident and tidy player.
That was against Oxford in the cup, wasn't it?
I think it was. God, full strength team that day.
Was that when that bloke got his cut out? Is that game?
No, the return leg was when we had it because they took whatever replay and we scored at their place in extra time.
That's right.
Really hell, man. Took 200 minutes of football against Oxford United, but anyway.
Eric's here with a great shout. Peter Lovenpants.
Oh yes.
That's
what a boy. What a player he was.
Movement, his movement off the ball.
A few shouts for that.
He was a lovely player.
Dropped in Lovenkrands in there as well.
We could have gotten him sooner when we wanted him as well, because we wanted him earlier on in his contract.
Before he went to Rangers, wasn't it? When he was at Schalke.
Even Julie.
Dumbia.
That was just he popped into my mind when I was thinking of January signing. I was thinking, who was the worst January signing?
Savvy there. But I think a lot of us about. Sorry, I've just changed the Savvy there. Savvy should have gotten more of a chance. Especially,
I agree.
Rafa drafted him in on that West Ham game, and he scored a free kick.
He
did really well in that game as well. But I don't know.
I think what did he have? 2-3 starts. I think every time he started, he played.
He seemed quite highly regarded before we signed him as well. He was. It just didn't.
So we're going to lose the vision again.
That was
so
seamless.
You might have. You could have just sent us a message. Would have been easier. Never mind. But we're going to lose the camera again, but we will still be here because we're just going to bring in a guest. So our first guest of the evening will be joining us. So don't go anywhere. We will still be here, chatting away, and we'll be back with our first guest in just one moment.
Hi everybody, it's Chris here from the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Just to let you know, as always, this podcast is now part of the 90-Minute Football Network and proudly sponsored by www.pt-4-u.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, at home, you can see on your screen our special guest is Chris. Chris is with us. How are you doing, Chris?
Absolutely exhausted, but all right, thank you. Yeah, how are you guys?
You busy all day, eh?
Just a busy old month, really. Well, a busy 3 months and 4 months since the takeover. It's just been absolutely manic, but quite the change for Newcastle United, as I'm sure you guys have been talking about.
Well, I was going to say, you have had 14 Januaries of doing nothing, so come on. It's about time you earned your wage.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I used to just take holiday, just take this as the easy time, and suddenly the start of the year is manic. But no, it's been just great to see a club trying so much. I mean, it's I haven't had any life other than covering Newcastle United for the past month. I haven't been able to do anything else, but that's what I got into this game for. That's what I want to be involved in. So yeah, it's been exhilarating in many ways.
No, it's definitely been a January to remember so far. So we have brought in quite a few signings. So what do you think of the business Newcastle's done so far?
I think Newcastle have done well. I think there was a moment maybe a fortnight ago where there was a bit of frustration starting behind the scenes, and after some positive momentum to start the window, maybe things started going against them a little bit. The fact that they couldn't secure either Sven Botman or Diego Carlos, that when they desperately needed a centre-back, it looks like the final signing of the window, ironically, is going to be the one which really they wanted from the very start, and that is a left-sided centre-half. It looks like Dan Burn now at this stage probably will be the final signing. He wasn't the first choice, but equally someone who comes in and gives them an option to play out from the back, someone who's schooled in the Graham Potter way of playing. I think Bruno Guimaraes is an absolutely wonderful potential signing. He's the one who there's a slight calculated gamble in the short term, and then how quickly will he adjust to the Premier League. But in terms of what the statement that it sends out there, I think it was huge. And then that adds to Kieran Trippier, who was an excellent addition. Matt Targett, who provides some Premier League experience, and I know a lot of people have said, why do they need another left back? And I'd agree to a certain extent, but fullbacks are very important to the way Howe plays, and Targett gives them a bit more in an attacking sense. And then the final one, obviously, is Chris Wood, who was almost a needs-must sort of signing, not the most exciting in the world, but a needs-must, and someone who's come in. And so overall, I think that the one disappointment is they haven't managed to get one more attacker. I think they could have done with one, be that Ekitike or Lingard. That hasn't happened. Doesn't look like they're going to get anyone. But overall, if you'd given most people these 5 signs at the start of the window, I think they probably would have taken it.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say most of the Newcastle fans are pretty happy in general with the business that we've done. It is that question of the forward line, the striker is probably the one that we are missing as things stand, and it would have been a nice icing on the cake if we've got that one done. But you can't be unhappy with the bestie, can you?
I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. If you want to give it a mark out of 10, I'm 7 or 8. Like as Chris says, I would have liked to have. It's really here because I can hear myself in delay. I would like to have got like an attack. Lingard would have been ideal, or I don't know anything really about Ekitike, but people seem to think he's a good one for the future. So maybe next time. But yeah, I think 7, 8 out of 10. I kind of said all season that I think would stay up, or since the takeover, and I've based that on having a strong transfer window. And I think it's probably been, hopefully, enough. You're looking at Everton have strengthened today with Van der Beek and Lingard. Ali's gone there today. Weghorst's gone to Burnley. Norwich don't seem to have done anything at all.
Cantwell's left to go to Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, that's right, yeah. What do you think of that, by the way, the Cantwell thing? Because we were linked with him quite heavily earlier in the month. And no other Premier League team seems to have fancied him. I think, he had that really good spell last time in the Premier League, but he's not been getting a game for Norwich. Do you think something's gone away there? Or?
The Cantwell one's interesting because Newcastle have looked at him for quite a while, and he's someone who Nixon likes, and Howery likes him as well. I was a little bit surprised with how keen they seemed to be early in the window, and I think they went to Norwich, and Norwich's terms were far too high to how Newcastle valued him, and so stepped away and thought about maybe going back in towards the end of the window. But by that stage, I think Norwich had decided they weren't going to let Cantwell go to another Premier League club, particularly a Premier League rival like Newcastle. He's clearly a talented player, but I'm not sure he's the player who Newcastle need right now. I think there's been a few questions over his attitude in the leg, and so I think it would have been a strange signing in that sense. Although Newcastle desperately do need some more creativity in the middle, and so yeah, I'm not. I can't say I'm overly disappointed by that one in that sense, but it would have been nice for them to have got it. If they got Lingard, I think that would have been excellent in so many ways. Howe didn't seem to fancy Dele Alli. They went in very late from. Looks like he's going to go to Everton. But it looks like they are going to be that one sort of attacker midfielder short, maybe.
Yeah, I think the Lingard one is leaving people disappointed. Ali, for me, wasn't a one that we should, be chasing. I know Darryl, you were the same.
Aye.
He probably, if he recaptures the form that he has shown in the past, he is, somebody that will go into the team and would improve with. But he just seems to have, really gone off the boil. And there's been a number of managers that have gone into Spurs over the recent past and just haven't got on with him for whatever reason. So I don't know whether it's maybe a bullet dodge there, Chris.
Yeah, again, I can't say I'm necessarily overly disappointed on that one, because the thing, if you're signing Dele Alli as well, it's not just that you sign a player who maybe there are question marks again about attitude and commitment, as some managers said, but also it's a player he showed no real form for 2-3 years. So you're taking a massive gamble and just hoping he's going to come in and suddenly set the world alight in that sense. With Lingard, it was different. Last time he was out on loan last year, he did extremely well at West Ham, albeit a West Ham team that were playing well and gave him opportunities. But you could see exactly why you would sign Lingard. Ali would have been far more of a calculated gamble, and you could argue, would he have got into the team ahead of some of Newcastle's attacking players anyway, unless he really did come in and start scoring goals. He hasn't been scoring goals, he hasn't been assistant even when he has been playing. So yeah, again, I can see why Howe was sort of reluctant for that until it was a backup option, and even then I can't say I'm overly disappointed, even if I think Newcastle are a little bit short in attack.
Yeah, I think it is the place where we probably, after the business that we've done, that we are maybe a little bit light. It gives Dwight York a bit of a reprieve that we just discussed earlier.
Dwight York, is it? Christ almighty. Is he not going to Sunderland with a phone?
He's signing for them again. He's about the right age, isn't he? I've done that before, haven't I, Dwight York?
Hasn't Steve Bruce done that? Steve Bruce did that, didn't he? I'm sure he did. I think he did.
I think he did.
I think we've certainly strengthened it at the back. That was, the main area that we look to be struggling so far this season. So, as you said, Dan Burn is likely to be announced it sometime in the next couple of hours. Target's already been announced. So that one with Target comes as a little bit of a surprise with me, because it seems to be pushing Jamal Lewis out of the picture a little bit. Chris, what's the latest noise on that?
Yeah, I mean, Jamal Lewis, my understanding was that earlier in the day was basically told you could go and find a loan club if possible. And I mean, other people are reporting that he's basically turned that offer down. He's going to be left out of the squad. I mean, he will be left out of the squad. He's not going to have a place in it now because Target comes in and takes his place. Now, I know a lot of people are surprised by that and a bit disappointed, but I think with Jamal Lewis, the thought is that he's not quite ready to do exactly what Eddie Howe wants from him in terms of in this relegation battle. As I said before, the fullbacks are extremely important to how Eddie Howe plays. At Bournemouth, his fullbacks are regularly the players who have the most touches in his side. They tend to create a lot of the opportunities. You've got Trippier on one side who's going to provide crosses from that side, and then Target tends to provide quite a few assists as well, and he's been pushed out of the picture at Aston Villa. He wants to play. He's been told by Eddie Howe he will play as well. So in that sense, when you've got Paul Dummett who can play as a left back, Dan Burn who was brought in as a centre back but could play there, Manquillo can play on that side as well. Matt Ritchie, I suppose, if you're really desperate, although I know Newcastle fans won't want to see him back there. So you have several potential options, and it's unfortunate that Jamal Lewis is going to miss out for now. It would be nice if he'd have got some further experience elsewhere just to rebuild his confidence a little bit more, because there were a couple of promising performances just before Christmas before he got injured.
I thought so. I thought he looked excellent.
Yeah.
Well, maybe good. He looked very good. That's not excellent.
Excellent,
Let's
strong.
not get carried away. But yeah, I was looking forward to him getting back to fitness, and I'll have him in the first team ahead of Richie. I'm assuming that the fact that Howe and Richie have worked together in the past kind of worked in his favour a bit there.
I mean, I had heard a little whisper earlier today among a million other whispers, to be honest, but that Matt Ritchie might be one of the ones who's heading out as well. But as far as I'm aware at the moment, I think Matt Ritchie will be staying. And I think the fact that he's again a sort of experienced player, also someone, as you say, who's worked with Howe previously, he can get Howe's message across. That's probably why he's gonna stay, and he's got the shout ahead of Jamal Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Matt Ritchie fan, but I did potentially see that he would be one that maybe move out this window while he still has got a little bit of value to go. And I mean, he's made no secret of the fact that he wants to go back down to the South Coast and potentially finish his career down at Portsmouth. I don't see he would drop that low in the leagues at this stage of his career, but maybe if he could get down there. I mean, Bournemouth have taken quite a lot of players on it. Maybe something for him down there, but we'll have to we'll see comes with the rest of the squad, because we have brought in 5 and we need to make that space in the squad to do it. So we were chatting earlier about the number that were to go out, and I think we kind of the 5 that we nailed on, Darryl, was
it was Woodman, Lewis and Clark, Hendrick, and
probably Hayden, just because of the injury.
Yes, that's right. Yes. I'd be interested to see what you think about that, Chris, because we were thinking about Hayden, whether or not that he would just be omitted to recover from his injury rather than be risked with a squad number.
I don't know the final 25-man squad yet. They are making decisions on that front. Certain players today have been told to go and try and find clubs if they can, and then a call was going to be made after that. I mean, there are quite a few players that you mentioned there whose positions are at risk. Dwight Gale would have been at risk, but and the thing is, if they'd have signed Hugo Ekitike, the difference between him and someone like Jesse Lingard is he wouldn't have taken a squad place because he's under the age of 21. So they would have been able to almost compensate for the fact that by bringing in a youngster, they wouldn't have to bring in as get rid of as many players. So it'll be fascinating to see what that 25-man list is in the end. Kieran Clark is certainly at risk. Jeff Hendrick, my understanding is he is in talks to try and go elsewhere. So I think he will go, but there are going to be 2 or 3 senior players who are going to be left out of the squad, given that it looks like at the minute it's probably only going to be Woodman and Hendrick who are actually going to find other clubs. And with 5 brought in, Newcastle already had a full 25-man squad, and that means 3 have to be left out.
Yeah. So, Chris, last thing from us, we are asking everybody that's on the show tonight, what is your favourite Newcastle January transfer signing?
Oh, that's a good question. I suppose Chef Kikuchi doesn't quite count because he was February, wasn't he? He doesn't quite count. My favourite January signing. Oh, good question. I really, really liked it when I always look back at Peter Lovenkrands, and I'd say Peter Lovenkrands probably when he first arrived in the Jan. I know that Newcastle ended up going down that summer, but obviously he went and then came back the follow that summer and really became a bit of a cult hero with Newcastle fans. So I think Peter Lovenkrands is someone. He's a lovely bloke as well. I know him quite well. So yeah, I think I'll go Peter Lovenkrands.
Oh, yeah,
nice one, Chris.
Yeah. Good friend. Can you put a good word in for her then? See if we can get him to pop onto the show.
I can certainly try.
Yeah, we're all big fans of Peter Lovenkrands here.
Mm-hmm. Loves the cans.
Very much so, like that.
Well, thanks, Chris. Thanks for joining us tonight. It is much appreciated. It's always good to have a little bit of insight from those that know better than us. So thank you for popping on, and we'll hopefully get you back in the studio again soon.
Yeah, definitely, guys. All the best. Have a great night. Cheers.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Chris.
Bye.
He's a nice lad, Chris.
He's a nice lad. Yeah. Very positive as well about the signings that we've made.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you can't not be, can you? I mean, honestly, how can you not be? I think I wasn't going to mention him, but I'm going to have to. It's not who you think I was going to say that. Merson today. Merson. Now I'm getting quite good at just not really giving anybody any real airtime. Not really asked really about anyone's opinion other than my own. As awful as that might sound. And mine. Well, obviously. But then when you see Merson say that the day, and I'm thinking, I think what I noticed even more was what he said immediately after that. And he said about Burnley signing, saying, it's a great signing. But then he's criticised us for signing people that haven't got Premier League experience. But then when you look at the people who have signed, I mean, Trippier, Wood, Target,
Burn.
It's only Bruno.
It's only Bruno that I just cannot work it out. How there's well, there's obviously a problem there somewhere. And that type of stuff annoys us. It really does annoy us because, and I shouldn't let it bother us, but how can it not? And I'm sure you probably felt the same way. You seen what he said and thought, what are you on about now?
Yeah, it was.
Put the bottle down.
I mean, to be fair, I kind of expect it from him.
I take that back. I take that back. Sorry, I take that back.
He has put it down a while ago now.
I take that.
He's recovering. Well done to him in that aspect of his life. Maybe not so much in the others, but it was a strange thing for him to come away, and particularly, as you say, the way that he then followed it up with the fact of what great business Burnley had done. That's just shit, man. It's just very, very odd. So for anybody that didn't see it or hasn't seen the comments, he basically just made reference to the fact that we were signing a number of foreign players, and he didn't know how they were going to adapt to being in the league. I don't know if he knows this, but we're only signing one foreign player, which is Bruno.
Well,
he probably didn't know that though.
New Zealand being a very famous.
Well, true enough, but he has obviously played here in England
for a long time.
For quite a long time.
I think it's pretty much his whole career, actually. To be honest,
he's not going to take any time to kind of acclimatise to the team. Obviously, Trippier, albeit yes, he has been over in Spain, but he's in England international. He played here for a hell of a long time. Yeah. So
it's just mental.
He's had a moment there, hasn't he?
I imagine if the other person had a stop and went, "Yeah, okay, Paul," and then said everything we've just said there. What would you?
That's the problem, and this is what we see all the time with the pundits, particularly on the radio shows that we all know, where they'll say certain things and nobody's there to pull them up on it. Yeah. So it's then taken as factual, which is why you then get situations where people talk about Newcastle fans being deluded and having ridiculous expectations. I
can think of one from the West Midlands straight off the top of my head.
Well, I'm sure you can. And there was a good tune polls today to see which one was the most intelligent of the pairing between Gabby and Merson.
Oh. So I think it's Merson.
I did vote Merson.
I listened to the Quickly Kevin podcast that he was on. And he comes across great. He comes across really canny in that, and he's had his problems in the past and all that, and he's kind of got. I think he's got through them now, but he comes across really, really well. But there again, I'll kind of, as a caveat, Matt Letizia came across really well on that podcast.
He's an absolute. That's true. No, I've also muted TalkSport and that, which I had never done before, and then Simon Jordan, I know has been. I think that was the reason why I did that actually, is because he was having to go Trippier coming for a payday. Well, he's getting paid $100,000 a week. What's the issue? But anyway, and I keep saying, what did you say?
Jason Cundy is a twat.
Oh, okay, well, that's fair enough. And then I only heard this from somebody else who said that he won't. Simon Jordan has, because Trippier's done that interview with Shearer, and Simon Jordan said, "I don't care what Trippier's got to say. I'm not interested." And I'm thinking, well, that's pathetic that you can't sit there and, because I'm sure he's had a go at someone for this before where they're not willing to listen to that side of the argument. And he says, "Well, you can't just sit here and dictate."
Yeah,
that's basically what you're doing.
He needs to learn to be a bit more humble, doesn't he? That's what it is. He just needs to swallow it.
Well, Trevor Sinclair was trying his best, which surprised us. I wasn't expecting that.
Sinclair's came across well, hasn't he?
Very, very well. Very well, yeah. Very well. He tried his best to defend her.
Yeah.
But Simon just wouldn't have any of it. But anyway, it shouldn't bother us, but sometimes it does.
So we've got another guest lined up to come on, and this might be somebody that you are familiar with. It is a member of our very own team. And there he is. Resplendent in yet more Castor gear. I think I'm feeling I didn't get the team memo tonight.
I'd have brought you something, Mark.
Is anybody else taking advantage of Klarna and paying 3 from PayPal, because it's just so tempting?
Paying 3 in PayPal, eh? How much was your Castor top like?
This one was I got this in a pair of shorts for about 40 quid. It was great.
I think it was a 22 quid. I was in there. I nearly got one of them. It was 22 quid. It's ridiculous.
They're giving it away.
When I went last
more or less. I think I'm back tomorrow.
And actually, it's all right. Yeah, no, it's nice. It's good.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
You're also resplendent in a little scar hat there, Roger.
Oh, mate, I like to put a little hat on, just to sort of hide me.
You've got a nice head of hair, though. You shouldn't hide it. I mean, I don't understand if Mark wanted to wear one.
There's only one person around here that wears a hat all the time.
I'm not criticising the boss.
Wouldn't dream of it. Wouldn't dream of criticising him.
So, Roger, what's the latest on the transfer news out in the real world?
I think we're done, aren't we, really? Like, I'm a bit deflated thinking, well, we're going to get Ekitike. And then, I mean, not that I knew anything about any of these players, by the way. I'm not like the oracle of Football Manager or whatever, but I think it would have been canny because then he doesn't take up a squad place either. Do you know, like signing a 19-year-old, it means then we have to make these decisions. But I'm sure you have been chatting about it, but I'm just baffled by the.
You mean you haven't been watching?
I've been in I've been looking after the bairns, and then I've been on my bike, and then I've just got out, and I thought I'll go and check in on the lads, see how it's gone.
We'll forgive you.
I caught the back end of here, chat with Chris there. That was really good. So, but yeah, like I think I am disappointed about Lewis if he is going to be left out of the 25-man squad. I'm scratching my head because he's a left fullback and he's quick, and he did show. I think Bestie was saying he put in some good performances before he got injured, unfortunately, and now it looks like he's going to be sort of kicking his heels for the next 5 months, which I think is a crying shame, really. But we've got to trust the manager.
It is a shame. It's not going to do him any good. A player that it was, he 22, 23-year-old, a young lad. He's got to be playing football. Yeah. So you'd think if he's refusing to go out and on loan, if he said, no, I'm not going to do that, it kind of speaks a little bit to his attitude as well, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he must think, well, I need to be playing football. If I'm not going to be in the 25 at Newcastle, then I want to play so I can get in the shop window and all that carry on. So
if I was willing to do it, he mustn't rate him either.
No.
He mustn't rate him at all.
Yeah. Chris said earlier, how likes his fullbacks as well.
Yeah.
You use them a lot. Like, so the whole thing surprises me because I was quite impressed with Lewis, and obviously the second half of his season up in Norwich, he looked great. He looked really good. So it's a quite a sad ending, that assuming that this is it for him, like, because you can imagine now we're not going to be relying on players that don't want to play for anymore, like so.
But I suppose if we trust the manager, then we've got to go with the players that he trusts. You know.
Yep.
I don't think there'll be many tears shed for Clark being out of the 25. I mean, granted, he's been a good servant and all that, but it's time to move on really from players like that. Can I very quickly apologise to Kieran? I think he's up here somewhere in the comments. Kieran Bolton. I left out Lauren Robert as a Maverick. So there we go. I do apologise. There we go. Contrition. But yeah, so I think
there was a few missing, to be fair.
There was Gaza. I got absolutely hammered. Gaza, but he wasn't playing he wasn't there when I was watching them. So I had to go with players that I'd had experience watching. But yes, he should have been mentioned. I do apologise.
Yeah. So for anybody that missed that was extra
time. The episode is still available, Mark.
It is, of course, it is live on our YouTube Gallowgateshots. So get yourself over there and you can have a look. And Chris was on it this week. Chris and Ian, who's also in the comments tonight that I've seen, was on there, joining Laura and Roger, who are there every Thursday or Friday, depending on whether they're washing the hair or not, as Roger's been doing tonight.
Yeah, it's really
Roger, before you go what's your favourite signing then of the January so far? Just like the ones that we've signed, these 5, what do you feel is the best player that we're getting in?
Trippier. Purely because I haven't seen Bruno yet, in the flesh play.
That's true.
For me, Trippier he's a player that really, by all rights, we shouldn't be getting in the position that we're in. But I think it says a lot to his character, and you can see on the pitch. Although he's I didn't realize how diminutive he was, but he just looks like a proper. I'm trying to think who says this all the time, but a proper player. I'm sure
Graham Souness.
Graham Souness, that's it. So to quote Graham Souness, once in this parish, of course. He looks like a proper player. He just leads the line, and I think we've just got to now get behind the players that we have got. It doesn't look like with how many minutes are left, lads, in the transfer window.
2 hours and 19.
2 hours 20.
I mean, things can happen, but it's looking like a domestic thing if we are going to get anyone. And who's going to let somebody go right now? I just, I can't say. I am a little bit. It's coming like a bit of a weekend. It's not getting the Lingard situation and not getting a striker or somebody else, because Wilson will get injured again, and Chris Wood, solid player, but is he going to get with the goals to get with there? So I am excited to see Bruno though. However,
lads.
I'm not
That
all
is
negative.
definitely one. And the question we are asking everybody tonight, so thinking of all-time January signings that we've made here at Newcastle, who's your favourite?
Woodgate.
Of recent
probably.
years, we don't want you going back to the 70s and 80s like Bestie did before.
Oh, well, Woodgate was actually signed in the first ever January transfer window.
Hell of a player.
So yeah, so he was. I mean, although I think we all know he didn't play as many games as he could have, but he's like Trippier in the fact that if he's on the pitch, he improves the side. You know, he made Titus Bramble a much better player. He made the fullbacks play better, and he once outpaced Thierry Henry, which was a sight to behold. I'm sure Bestie remembers very well the game, a few games he had against Thierry Henry, and he went pace for pace with him and tackled him, and he was a brilliant footballer. So just
he still remains the best central defender I've seen at Newcastle for me. Like even the short time that he was there, he's
such a shame that
shoulders above everything.
He didn't get as many games with injury, and then he went to Real when he did, and it just it's so frustrating that it was like it wasn't quite what it could have been.
Aye.
Yeah. Aye. But yeah, quality, and then probably after that, Cisse is an easy one, but he got Pardewed far too soon. But there we go.
He did.
So now, actually, lads, I'm off to a Bournemouth podcast now because they've asked us to go on and talk about Freddie Woodman. So there you go.
Oh, tell them he's brilliant, so that they don't send him back.
Oh, that's a bit mean.
It's a bit mean. What if he is good? No, he is.
He might do all right there. He did very well at Swansea, didn't he? I think he had a tough time, obviously, at the start of this season, getting chucked in at the deep end, and
he was playing behind our back four as well.
That well for him.
He was playing behind a very unsettled back four with Steve Bruce as the manager. So there you go.
So is that a live one?
Yes. So I'm going on in about now. So I love you and leave yous. Like and subscribe and all that. I don't know what do you say when you're a guest? Like and subscribe. But you're doing a great job.
I will take a plug anytime.
Well,
enjoy talking to
what type of plug was starting about there, Bonnie lad? I've always got to get some smut in. Good to see you, lads. And
you too.
Roger.
See you, Roger.
And I'll log back in later. See you later, guys. Ta-ra.
Cheers,
bye, everybody.
Ta-ra. So there we are, Roger, looking resplendent in his bright orange Castor. Is that a training top, was it?
Yeah, it's like what's it called, a quarter-length zip thing. I might go and get one of them more. Actually,
you've never seen this much Puma gear, did you?
No,
because my wardrobe was just like I've got everything else. I'm sure Castor stuff like on this side. Cause I just keep going to the shop and buying stuff all the time. Like that new jacket I got last week, I wanted to wear this week, but I thought Chris would take the piss.
I nearly picked one of those up actually today, and I thought I don't want to come dressed like the same as Declan, and then Darryl did it anyway. So.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to wear it, and I thought, no, Jane, Chris will go. You got that jacket on again. So he went off.
So we did have a question about your attire tonight, Bestie.
My right,
yeah. So lots of positive comments, but there was a query as to why we didn't go for a long sleeve version.
I don't know, and it's just the first short sleeve keep my top I've ever bought. I was actually talking. This is going to be a very boring anecdote, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I was talking to my wife last night about because she played netball at quite a high standard in her youth, and I was asking her about if she had any like what would you call superstitions that before she took to the court, what she would kind of just out out. And I only played football at a really bad standard, like a terrible standard, but I always wore long sleeve keep top and always tucked me top into my gloves.
Right.
So the cuffs, I remember that. It was a 96, 97 green keep top with the white stripes, and they had massive black cuffs. Those cuffs were like, I grabbed them in the gloves on top, and that was me in goal. I was sorted then, like, so I
got mine, one of them.
But I was looking for, I've got mine, but one of the white stripes. It was my Sunday League top for 15 years, but one of the stripes is coming off now. But I
was it there available in long sleeve though?
No, nothing like plain stuff wise is.
Yeah,
I would have if I had been, I would have got long sleeves because I'm a long sleeve.
I like it in a short sleeve, like
it just doesn't keep my top.
No, it doesn't so much.
It's just like a training top.
I mean, when it leaked, we were calling, is that the away shirt or is that this? Because it had the granddad on and all that. Right. But I remember having the conversations like, but I like it, and it's kind of. I went there today intending to buy a couple of shirts, and I've got that many of like that much stock, other stuff, and this one always sold out. So I thought, right, I'm getting that one.
Yeah, and if Amy's watching, he didn't actually buy anything. That's just on loan.
Well, Castro sponsor now, so it's just given
it's
by
freebies.
Castro.
It's freebies, lads.
We're not, by the way.
I've got a question for you that we haven't mentioned yet, but with Christian Eriksen going to Brentford today, would you have taken a risk?
1 billion%. Yes.
Oh, absolutely, definitely would have done. I don't. Like, he's been cleared by doctors to play. He's kind of feeling well enough in himself. He trusts himself to play again. It's a no-brainer for me. Like, I don't.
He's got a pacemaker / defibrillator fitted as well.
Sean Longstaff's got one of them, so that's why he's so slow. A pace limiter.
Pace limiter.
Like, you know how people like a tachograph kind of thing. You know how people get one there.
You've done too many miles. You need to stop. But we have been going for just over an hour and 10 minutes. So it seems like it's about time for us to make our first signing of the evening and welcome back a familiar face. So let's just have a little video and then we'll do a quick substitution.
Sorry, I can't be cast, but I just thought I'd send you a quick message because I know there's a real feel-good factor and buzz about this evening as the window closes. Newcastle have had a great window, and I thought I'd give you a few brief thoughts. Not that I'm ever particularly brief, but I think that one thing we can say categorically and simply is that Newcastle are very much now favourites to stay up because of who they've added and how the other teams are faring. And that's why Chris Wood, for example, is a great signing because he can score goals, he can keep teams up, and ultimately it's a weapon that's been taken away from Burnley. And even though the price is quite high, if Newcastle stay up, nobody's going to be talking about the transfer fee. Kieran Trippier, brilliant, a marquee signing for sure. I don't care what anyone else says. He's a La Liga winner, and to prize him away from Atletico Madrid and get him to Newcastle, even though he wanted to return to England, the fact that Newcastle are in the relegation zone, to persuade him to join this particular project is a real coup. And he showed why, I think, against Leeds, because he was struggling in the first half against Harrison and he adapted his game in the second half. And that's what you need when you're trying to stay up and grow, is intelligent footballers that can change their game within a match based on instruction or just their own sense of how things are going. And that allows you to perhaps wrestle momentum away from another team. And Newcastle clung on and Trippier adapted and they got their goal, they hung on, they got a clean sheet. And part of that was down, I think, to his intelligence and the way that he was able to realise a problem and fix it. And that's why he's such a good signing. And he obviously offers a decent delivery as well. And then in terms of Bruno, a fan favourite for sure he will be. He's billed as a defensive midfielder, but he really isn't. Very much box to box, fast, tenacious, hard-working, and I think he'll adapt to the pace of the Premier League brilliantly. And then what might come this evening? Well, I think Newcastle will add at least two more. It's widely reported that Matt Targett is having a medical. And that's quite interesting because the deal wasn't even close last night. It was actually unlikely. And that was actually because Newcastle only wanted a deal now originally, but they softened to a loan deal. And Aston Villa are still not particularly intent to sell permanently. So I don't think that Newcastle will necessarily have an option to buy just now. It's possible, but Villa, I think, and Gerrard in particular, being a newer manager, wants to keep him as an option still. So it's a bit like Joe Willock, really. If he does well and keeps Newcastle up, or helps anyway, then that's great. And he obviously solves the left-back problem and can also play in left midfield. But at the end of the season, Villa may well want him back. And Newcastle might have to fight quite hard like they did with Willock to make that signing permanent. But for now, definitely good. And obviously Newcastle are also trying to add a centre-back, and that's looking very promising. I don't think they're going to get the striker that they want, and the backup is once again Jesse Lingard. And Newcastle have always been confident about getting Lingard because the player has indicated that he wants to join and that he will agree to the terms. But Manchester United remain bullish about the accompanying fees to this deal. So as of this morning, Lingard has again reiterated he'd like to move to either Newcastle or West Ham. And Newcastle, as I understand it, on a loan deal, should it be a loan deal, is his preference. But Manchester United want a lot of money through various fees. So something will have to change. And it's an interesting test, really, because if Newcastle cave and pay the fees, which would complete the deal, then they're basically stating that as they grow and do business with big Premier League clubs, they will be held to ransom. And if Newcastle hold out and don't do the deal, they won't get the player, but they make it very, very clear that just because of who their owners are, they're not just going to allow for these sky-high farcical fees. Because if the deal goes through and Lingard only plays the second half of the season, then essentially every game he plays is worth $1 million to Manchester United, which is crazy. So maybe they'll meet halfway. That deal is still very much possible because Lingard wants the move, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I think Newcastle can be really pleased with their window regardless, and they've got enough depth and quality now to stay up. The final thing I was going to say is that I don't think there's anything in the Henderson deal, even though Dubravka may be unfit and he didn't play against Al Ittihad when Newcastle were in Saudi Arabia. I don't see much sense in Henderson moving because he's not going to be the number one goalkeeper assuming everyone's fit, and I don't think he'll want a loan where he's going to be the number two. And the other thing to point out is if Newcastle do turn their attention to Lingard, under the rules they can't have Lingard and Henderson, so at this late stage in the window they're going to have to gun for one or the other, and if they're back in the mix for Lingard, they're wasting their time trying to go for Henderson as well. So those are my thoughts. I think there's a lot to be positive and excited about. I think this window's shown the ambition of the owners and the trust in Eddie Howe, and Newcastle will now naturally hope the momentum of that Leeds win plus a good window bleeds into Everton and they can get another victory. And if they do win back-to-back games either side of the window shutting and the international break, they're very much in a position to be safe, not only because of the 2 wins and the momentum, but because they suck other teams into it then as well. And at that point, I think they'll have too much quality. So I see Newcastle going from strength to strength, and I hope everyone is rewarded by staying up late this evening with a couple more signings. So enjoy your live show, and I hope to come on the podcast very soon.
Thanks, Ben. Jesus Christ, I forgot how much he could talk.
It's always nice to hear from him, though. He always does.
Like Ben,
he does talk a lot of sense. I know he's got his critics, but
he put up with a lot of shit.
He did
a lot of shit
during the
unnecessary as well.
The kind of barren years of the takeover. He came in for a lot of abuse, did Ben?
And then it's flipped. I'm not for everyone, as it never will, but there's a lot of people then changed their opinion, didn't there?
When he came on this podcast, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's kind of happened with Luke as well. Luke Edwards has still got his people
podcast as well.
That's us. It is.
It's almost as if, if you say things people don't like to hear, that they go off you. But then as soon as you say something positive, they like you again.
What I do want to say, I just want to apologise because Ben spoke a lot about things which definitely aren't happening now.
Yeah.
So this was pre-recorded. Ben is in Beijing at the moment, so it's 8 hours ahead. So he'll probably be fast a kip.
So he knows what's happened in that case.
He does know what's happened.
He's got to tell us.
That's it. He's in it's the future now, whereas that was in the past.
And yes, for those that are asking, those people not happy that there was no yellow on show tonight.
We did try to get yellow ties, didn't we? But
I wasn't doing it, but I just didn't like Jim White.
Same.
So I just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
is Ben over there for the Winter Olympics?
I don't know, mate.
That starts Friday.
I would imagine so.
Soon, yeah.
I imagine so.
Oh, great. Oh, it's a nice time.
But yeah, hi everybody.
Jamaica got a bobsled team again.
They do have a bobsled team.
Aye.
They do have a bobsled
Amazing.
team. So we've got a couple more guests, and I'm just going to go straight in with them as well. So
Chris is back, by the way.
Hi everybody. Hi Shade, how you doing, mate?
It's your boy SoCal.
How you doing?
Jesus, Mark.
How are you, pal? You good?
He's not Australian.
Yeah. I'm doing all right. Miss you guys.
You miss what already, mate. Hasn't been that long, mate.
It's been long enough. Feels like a lifetime.
So what's your thoughts on the transfer window overall, mate?
I mean, overall, it's been amazing. We've done some good business. I think that people are getting frustrated with kind of how things are going today, but me, I like to stay positive. Have we had a deadline day like this? When's the last time we had a deadline day like this? Just
never.
Even though obviously I'm gutted about the Lingard situation and everything like that, but still, just look how exciting this is. I mean, I don't know if we'll get anything in last minute, but that even just the idea that we possibly could is a vast change compared to what we've been used to.
Yeah. Who's your favorite signing so far?
Oh, Trippier, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone's going to go
for me, definitely. Yeah. I don't know, similar to the way what Roger was saying, I don't know enough about Bruno.
So it might change then, Bestie. Might change.
It could in time, yeah.
If like Bruno's like the
it could be Chris Wood. If he gets a hat trick against Everton and all that, like there.
Oh, pressure's on him now.
What's your plans for the rest of this then, Shade? Obviously, it's your working day. We'll call you on your lunch break.
My boss was like, "Oh, you staying home because you had it a little too rough with the NFL yesterday." I was like, "I didn't even know the NFL was on. It's deadline day."
Nice.
No, mate, just working. I'm on my lunch break right now. I'm keeping up on Twitter. Got a dodgy stream on in the living room as well. You know, I mean, I'm hoping that something surprises me by the time we close. But like I said, I'm overall pleased with what we've done. I think that we've addressed a lot of the key areas that needed to be, like, if we had to address something, we've addressed everything that absolutely needed to be addressed. I would love more attack. Who wouldn't? But like I said, I think we're coming in a lot stronger. Obviously, we're coming in a lot stronger than we were. And you know, even if we don't bring anybody else in, we've just got to do the business now, don't we?
I think overall, though, even if nobody else comes in now, and it looks that way at the minute, we're approaching 9 o'clock there, and there's nothing. There's
nothing Dan there. Burn, really, the confirmation of that one.
Just announcement, really, isn't it? Yeah. Just the announcement, unless something's going to happen, obviously somewhere in England.
Well, we've just been saying it's really quiet tonight, isn't it? If it wasn't for Aubameyang off the Barcelona, there wouldn't have been any breaking news at all.
Bournemouth signing everybody in the Football League.
They've had a decent window, but even when you look across the league in general, I know Spurs have got a couple in kind of last minute that went under the radar. Obviously, Everton have strengthened. Burnley obviously brought in. I keep thinking. Every time I see his name, I keep thinking of Martin Waghorn, who went to bloody...
Is it Weghorst or Weghorst? Yeah. Waghorn, aye.
But it's been a pretty quiet deadline day, like.
I think a lot of the time they are, to be honest with you, as we say, that quite often they make this big thing of it, and you've got Jim White giving it big licks on Sky Sports, taking his stupid tie and that, and nothing much happens. It's the glory days of Harry Redknapp hanging out his car window and Peter Odom when he's driving around the country, they're gone now. Like I think, yeah.
Well, those days are gone because Aubameyang did it, didn't he? He flew over to Barca.
You can't even get a dildo these days.
It's not quite if he's flown himself.
Well,
that's what Roger was talking about earlier.
Is it?
Shade, do you want to give a little plug for the United States, mate?
Oh yeah, I'm Shade, SoCal Geordie. Check out the United States. It's a podcast that I do with my boy Rich with Gallowgateshots. We feature all stories about Newcastle United, kind of stemming from the United States side of things. We've got some great stuff lined up, a couple other former players lined up, some staff members, and some great features on some great fans out here as well, all with unique ties to the United States.
Thank you, Shade. Enjoy the rest of your
USA.
day, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Right, I got to get back to work. Miss you guys.
What you doing, bud?
Take care, shit, mate.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
I wish I could just sound like that.
And it's, when you watch like Pimp My Ride UK, and it's like Tim Westwood, and he's like fixing like an outfit punto or something like that.
Is that what you feel like when you were Shade?
Yeah, like you watch like the proper version of Exhibits giving them 6 now, and they've got like these ridiculous station wagons that come over here, and it's like, we've got Mark from Gateshead who's got a Corsa.
Yeah,
and it's just,
I know what you mean.
That's so much cooler.
The American ones were a bit extreme, Pimp My Ride, but the British ones were fucking ridiculous. Like, I was going to put a fish tank in your car. Who wants a fish tank in the car?
I don't like.
Yeah, that's pretty mental, isn't it? Really, that is mental.
Ridiculous. We're going to go straight with our next guest, and it is another member of Gallowgateshots. It is Scott, who is running the Facebook page for ourselves. Scott is coming from Amsterdam. Worldwide, this
is Eurovision, this isn't it?
Worldwide.
Evening, gents.
How you doing, mate?
Scotty, that.
Another bloody cast off.
Sorry, Jack. I've had this on all day, mate.
You're all right, mate. You're all right.
It's funny you should mention Pimp My Ride UK. I actually had one of my tracks featured on one of the soundtracks on season 2 of Pimp My Ride UK. So that was
How
a
much did you get
funny
paid
little
for it?
segue when you mentioned it.
It was almost like it was one of those things. Is how Universe does that sometimes.
Yeah.
Just does that. And that was one of those ones.
I
Like,
didn't get any
Well,
money
the
for
next
it,
is
and
actually
I didn't know
too much
anything about it.
exhibit.
I think there's a little bit of delay on the stream, Scott. So what we'll do, we'll just go straight in. What's your favorite ever January transfer for Newcastle?
I think it has to be Cisse, right? I think he came in, instant impact. Obviously, the second season didn't go as well as probably we'd all like, but I also think when we lost Demba Ba, he was just a shadow of the player that he was. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been said already a few times tonight. He's scored some great goal. He wasn't a great score. Scored at Chelsea. His first goal was equally as good. Yeah, I think Cisse was it for me.
Yeah, I would disagree with that because everybody's going down the CC.
A lot of people have went Peter Lovenkrands, and that's a good
was
one.
Chris Woff's one.
And there was someone else in the chat said that, and I wouldn't have thought of Peter personally. I wouldn't have.
It was a funny one because he was a 6 month loan. It wasn't even a loan, was it? Because he was without a club, and then we left him, or he left, and then he signed again at the start of the next season.
But you've got a player in Cisse who he broke the record of most consecutive goals, or certainly the quickest
13 and 12.
13 and 12.
14,
like he just hit the ground running, scoring any type of goal you could imagine. I absolutely love the bloke, to be quite honest. So that's a good shout, Scott.
Yeah.
He's trying to order food for her, but it's not going very well.
So if everyone can see Mark not really doing much, we're trying to order food to the studio as well, as always.
Can we not give him one of them every week?
Just to shut him up.
Keep him busy.
Just like a child when you take a child out for dinner and that.
I want to take him to the bank and I've got those abacus things.
Scott, sadly, I'm going to have to let you go, mate, because the audio's crackling like mad. But I appreciate it massively for coming on, mate. And
no worries,
yeah,
no worries. Sorry about that.
If you're going to give it a mark out of 10, what are you giving it?
I think a solid 8. I think had Lingard come in, it would be up there with a 9-10. But I think, yeah, I mean, we've improved in the areas that we really needed to. Like we did get a striker in. I know people are saying we need another one, but we've got Wood in. Hopefully Dan Burn gets announced before deadline passes. But those two in the box with Trippier delivering crosses, I think is going to get goals. And I think the other signings are going to help, like St. Maximum and Fraser, get in the game a bit more and not have to track back as much.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's been a great window, but I think it's a lot of people think it's deflated with a little bit last minute with obviously deadline day. Obviously, we've got 2 announcements coming, but
I think
everything with Lingard.
How the day started, like by 10 o'clock this morning, we had 2 almost agreed. We had 2 coming in, or possibly 2 more coming in. It's just the perception thing. If we had nothing happen all day, then all of a sudden we had Burn target. We'd be going out. That's not too bad. Like, it's because it's just how it's been the start of at the end of the day. I think
exactly.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it massively, mate.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
Thank you.
Scott.
Cheers, Scott. Lad.
I didn't know Scott had a chat on Pimp Ride. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of that.
Nobody knew that.
No. I'm glad it's not just me.
One of the things I want to mention, because when I was sat over there working things out, is that 2 Newcastle United players have refused loan moves. So it is Jamal Lewis refused a loan to Birmingham, and Kieran Clark has also refused one to Middlesbrough. So that's 2 players that are refusing to obviously make the journey and get some game time. Why?
The Clark to Borough one is, I think, harder to understand than the Lewis one because it's round the corner. Like it's
Do you know what I mean? Move house.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Whereas obviously you're asking Lewis. This is football. They're well aware of the travelling and moving clubs and stuff. But the Lewis going to Birmingham, maybe he's thought, well, I don't want to drop down a level. I don't want to live in Birmingham. Maybe that's his thoughts. But the Clark one's surprising because if he knows he's not going to have a squad number and play, why not play around the corner and almost put yourself in the shop window for maybe a championship club to come in for you. So it just seemed a bit strange, like, to be honest.
Do you think he's just at the point of his career now where he thought, fuck it, I can't be arsed now?
To be fair, both of them have probably spoke to the agent, right? And maybe the
Is
agent,
it worthwhile?
Yeah, maybe the agent said, well, just sit tight, keep yourself fit, and then in the summer we'll get you a better move or something. Who knows, but it is surprising when you hear a player not wanting to go and get game time. But I still think Lewis, I don't know. Well, of course, we don't know what
Lewis is a strange one, though, because he's refused to move to Birmingham, but then apparently he's also suggested that he doesn't want a squad number.
Yeah,
what's your intentions then?
I don't know.
It's a strange one. I wonder.
Is that line right though? Like, is refused a squad number? Is that if that's true? That sounds terrible. To be quite honest,
doesn't sound great. Like,
not at all. Like,
do you think it's just his nose out of joint because of what's happening? And to be fair, if I was him, and I know you touched on this with Chris, but if I'm him, I'm not happy if the likes of Paul Dummett and Matt Ritchie's going to get a game ahead of us. If it comes to that scenario,
and I would be the same. Yes, I would have to be the same.
It might just be that Howe doesn't like him.
Yeah, he can't. He physically can't like him. Which I know for us sitting around here, we're like, well, how is that? Like, because we know there's something there. We've seen it. But it is a strange one. And
maybe it's a case where it was being twisted on social media earlier, where he's refused a squad number to the fact what Chris was saying, that he's been told that you're not going to get a squad number.
Yeah.
So go and find yourself alone. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah,
it's social media at the end of the day. So
I quite like the idea when they say to go and find themselves alone, like they're ringing around any game, lads.
Yellow pages.
Coventry City, Coventry. There they are.
We've been there before with a few players, but certainly the higher salary ones where we've said to them, you no longer needed, go and find yourself a club, and they've got no interest in finding a club because the Sang Save was definitely one of them where he knew he wasn't going to get a game. But he was on a decent wedge here, so they don't bother.
Be here for a long time as well.
Yeah, Lazar, yeah. Obviously, the Lewis one, I think, honestly, and I mean this as well, if we had went from the beginning of January and you said to me, come the end of it, he won't have a squad number, I would have thought, what if
it blew my mind, that
just doesn't make sense.
It's strange. I don't get it. I really, it was one I really wanted to see him do well because I thought him and Max Aarons at either side of the Norwich in the Premier League a couple of years ago were decent, not brilliant, but obviously they went down, but they're decent enough. And yeah, it's a shame because you say a young lad like that, and you think, well, could he be? I mean, you think of players that we've had that have been in Newcastle for years that have become like fan favourites, and even someone like Rob Elliott, who was only ever really in and out of the first team, but he kind of really settled in the area. And I know he's away at Watford now, but like he really had an affinity with the area that he had nothing to do with prior to that.
Do you know who I thought you were talking about when you first said it? Robbie Elliott. Sorry, left back, like left foot. Sorry,
no,
I know what you mean now.
And I was really hoping Lewis would be one of them where he kind of, I always hope it when a player comes in that they really kind of become
the player we want them to be.
Yeah. And it's just, it's a bit melancholy when it doesn't work out.
Well, it is, we had a similar discussion with Almiron, haven't we? That, but I think with Almiron, I think everyone's wanted it to work. Not to go off.
But if we stick on Lewis, I just find it weird, and Keegan is a great point here. Says that he loves Dummett, but he's just come back from a long-term injury. He's out of contract in the summer. It just seems weird leaving Lewis out over Dummett when he can't stay fit.
Well, I wouldn't have Dummett. If you're, I'll say this line every time, but if you're wanting to progress as a team and move forward, Paul Dummett can't be part of that. He's such a limit. I know he's a good defender, and I know Laura. I know you fancy him if you're watching, but what Premier League side is going to have Paul Dummett in their team? I don't think any of them would. And I mean that.
Do you think Paul Dummett, maybe Burnley, gets a new contract at the end of the season?
If we depending on the situation that we're in, but either way, if we've sat here before years ago, we've sat here and been like this, especially being like, if Paul Dummett is our left back, then it's a sign that the club really isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, I quite like Dummett. I think he's all right, and it's I don't know if he's watching. I don't upset him. But no, I think you're right. I think he's limited. He doesn't offer a great deal going forward. I mean, you saw how the game changed against Leeds when Manquillo came on that run he made for the free kick that won the game in the end. And I like Dummett, but there's a level, and he's been kind of. I mean, God, how long has he been? He scored a goal the day I got married. It's my 9th anniversary this year, so.
And that's again going back to what I say all the time. It's about you look at. Is it Villa? I think Villa. Someone mentioned about Villa. That there's only one player, I think, or maybe not even that is in this.
They played the other week, and there wasn't a single player that played in the championship. We had like 5,
and that's the problem. You need to move on. But I know we'll get sentimental, and I know we're like, but he's been a good servant. He works hard, and he'd had anything for you. But there comes a time where you have to say thanks for what you've done, and
you've got it.
Clark's at that stage now. Thanks very much, and we'll move on.
I don't see Dummett getting a renewed contract in the summer.
Well, no. It depends what happens now, because there's going to be a few people ahead of him, surely. So you've got, obviously, Target was brought in there. And Manquillo's performance the other week, absolutely miles and miles and millions of just light years ahead of Paul Dummett's first half display.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned before, Dummett, yes, he's a great defender, but he's not a fantastic footballer.
He's not a fantastic player, and I can see him. I don't know if it's just because we've been talking about Borough, but I could really see Paul Dummett going to Borough in the summer. It seems like it just fits. You know, some players kind of have that look about them. He's a Borough player, Paul Dummett. I mean, like, and I like him. He's, again, you see him kind of when you get a young player come through the ranks. Happened with the Longstaffs, happened with Stephen Taylor, where they're getting the team, and you think, oh, I'd like to see them. The kind of local pride type of thing. And Dummett's he's probably the most successful youth team player we've had come through since I don't even know when. I mean, Andy Carroll maybe, but yeah, I think it's if we are moving forward as a club, it's surely time. But there again, I would say the same for Matt Ritchie at left back, and yet looks like he's going to be preferred to Jamal Lewis. So, but then Eddie Howe knows more than I do, like, so I hope.
And I think that the point you've made there about Eddie Howe, he clearly is wanted somebody better in that area, hasn't he? So he clearly hasn't wanted Lewis to be that person.
Yeah.
Because if you thought Lewis was the one, well, why go for Target? There's no need to, is there?
Yeah, exactly.
And I understand why some people, because even Trippier can play out left. He can.
Yeah,
he can.
For England against Scotland, was it?
You've got Manquillo can do it. Dummett can do it limited maybe. Ritchie can fill in, maybe limited.
Burn can play there. When
there's a lot of options here.
Kieran Clark can.
There's a lot of options.
Jack Holback can.
But personally, though, I think of the team itself, right? And honestly, I really mean this. I've always said that the fullbacks need to be upgraded to become a good side, especially in the modern game. Yeah. You have to have good fullbacks. And I know Mark may not agree on the left-hand side, but I think we've upgraded in both areas. Certainly the right-hand side.
Absolutely.
We needed someone in the middle of the park to be able to do more on and off the ball. And let's hope Bruno is this person from what I've seen about him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you look at them areas, it will have definitely strengthened. And I appreciate what Chris has said as well, that by not getting Lingard in, it's just that little edge, hasn't it? Just maybe being taken off the bench.
Could Bruno coming in? Sorry, Chris. I've been thinking about this for a while now, and I just haven't had the chance to ask it really. Could Bruno coming in be a beneficial thing for Joe Willock? Could you get more out of Willock with better quality behind him?
Well, I said to Gareth in the car on the way up, I was on about Shelby, and like I know people might not agree, but I've always said, like, if you could get better players around Shelby, I reckon Shelby would be a better player.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt about it that if Willock will look a better player with better players around him.
Exactly.
And I agree that the Willock, the second half that I've seen of Willock at Leeds was more like the old Willock that I had seen before. And he definitely could be one that we're talking about all the new signings. He could be one that will look back at City and go, Willock really improved that second half of the season. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure Willock will get in the team.
Do you think?
I think it'll be Shelby, Bruno, and Joe Linton.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
That'll be the three.
Did we not have a discussion the other week? It might be Craig Hope that said this, like maybe moving Joe Linton out the squad, then that gives the rest of the players a bit of an extra chance in the midfield area.
Potentially, but he's
done well.
We've seen the last few weeks. He's probably been the main one in midfield, hasn't he, for breaking things up and getting more forward.
But not what Bruno's for.
Like Declan said earlier about Dummett, if you're a Premier League team, if you want to move forward, and Joe Linton's done a great job in the middle of the park, he has. But how far do you progress with Joe Linton in centre midfield?
If you could, it's pathetic really because it's totally hypothetical here. But if you could say to me, the Joe Linton I seen at Man United. Sorry, when you played against Man United, if he had that performance 6 out of 10 times, he starts every single week.
He kind of has.
He has.
No, I know he has.
Recent weeks, hasn't he?
But football's a funny game, right? And opinions change very, very quickly with form and stuff like that. And we're sitting. It's only it's in February. It's February in a minute. But you could be looking at the end of March, and Julian might not even be fit. Might not be playing. Might be injured. So then Willock, of course, may come in and we'll have to change things up. I know it's so easy to sit here and go, well, it'll be them three in midfield until the last game of the season. It's probably not going to be.
No, it's a squad game.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm going to bring my next guest in. Okay, so we have George Coughlin join me. Hi, George.
The lovely George.
Oh, Sir George.
So we've had the chat.
Hiya.
Then.
What a lovely view of my radiator that is. That's not great, is it?
It's a fantastic view of your radiator, mate. So George, I think you were the first one to basically tell everybody that business is done.
Well, I told everybody that at 10:15 this morning, and that was wrong. So, but at that point, Newcastle were very confident of getting Ekitike, as well as Dan Burn and Matty Target. And obviously, the Ekitike thing fell down pretty quickly after that. They just ran out of time persuading the player to come across, firstly, and then just the logistics of it all. I mean, one thing that people haven't really been talking about too much this window is about sort of Brexit and the effects of that, and how difficult it actually is to get players in from Europe. But that ruled that out. And then at that point, there was that attempt to go back into for Lingard. And then it became clear again that Man United just weren't prepared to do business. So yeah, I had another message from someone who I can't name, but right at the top of the club at 6 o'clock, who said that they were definitely done at that point. I mean, I'm always a bit reluctant to sort of say that kind of thing, because it's such a sort of manic day and things can sort of be shaken loose at the last minute. But that's how it appears. Yeah.
I guess that comes around from whereby if a club that they've been talking to in the recent days and weeks then suddenly came back to the table and said, look, I know we said we wouldn't do business, but there's now a chance. I think it leaves the door open for that, where you can never say never from that respect.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, this is a slightly different point, but it makes such a weird difference to actually been having this conversation on transfer deadline day. I mean, I made a joke this morning. Normally, I take this day off because at Newcastle you can be pretty sort of sure that nothing's going to happen, and it rarely does. Apart from the manager getting irritated and all of us feeling pissed off and upset and frustrated. And at least Newcastle today have been sort of at the party. And all being well, we'll have two new names, two new players in the door. We're just still waiting for Dan Burn to be confirmed. But yeah, it's just been. I mean, what a window! It's been. Absolutely kind of manic month. And I know you had Chris on earlier. I do want to pay tribute to him, because he's done an absolutely brilliant job throughout the whole of the window. Been right on top of it. Very proud of him, I am.
Do you feel? I know previously we've sat here frustrated fans because we're not signing players, but do you think the fact that I think a lot of us had pinned our hopes on Jesse Lingard being that cherry on top of the cake for this transfer window, and obviously everything which we heard over the last couple of days seeing on Newcastle back in, have Manchester United taken for a little bit of a ride on this one?
I don't know. I mean, I think I have to be we have to be very careful what we say for sort of very obvious reasons. I think their circumstances have changed a little bit in the last couple of days, and so I think it's important to sort of acknowledge that. I've been told sort of throughout the window that they've been concerned about a few things. They've been concerned about what happens if there's another COVID outbreak at the club. That's been something that's been in their thinking. I was told that right at the start of the month, and sometimes these things come to the wire. It's not in Newcastle's. It's not Newcastle's decision whether Lingard joins or not. Ultimately, it's Man United's, and they've made their stance. I think they found it difficult. I think Newcastle have found it difficult to get an answer, clearly, because they pushed this right to the end. But they'll have to. I mean, there've been moments when Lingard has been told at Man United that he's not going to get a game for the rest of the season, and then he's ended up staying. But as I say, there are obviously different reasons for that too.
Do you think now the job on the club's hands is trying to offload a handful of players?
Yeah, they have been trying that this evening. I've seen those reports about some players not willing, not being willing to go. The problem that they have now is that they have a bit of a bloated squad, and no manager likes that. There's a limited number that can kind of go in the Premier League squad, and what a manager doesn't want is to have a rump of disaffected players hanging around the place who won't be getting a game. And there are going to be a few pretty big-ish players in that bracket, so they would like to make some room. Obviously, it makes a bit of room on the wage bill too. Not that that's the most important thing, but yeah, you don't want a sort of disaffected group of players around the place.
What is in store for the rest of your night, George?
Well, Chris and I have been writing a big piece about sort of inside the transfer window. So over the last kind of couple of weeks, we've been speaking to people at the top of the club and throughout the club and agents. And as things have been sort of progressed, we've been kind of taking notes about what's been happening, why, where they've gone, how they started up. It's sort of fascinating that when you think back to October, we were told that ideally Newcastle wanted to spend about 40 million quid, 50 million quid this month, but obviously results didn't turn and things have changed, and Callum Wilson's injury changed things too, and so we end the window with the Newcastle score looking very different. So yeah, we're writing a big piece on that. We've been doing that all day, not anticipating anything coming out of the blue, although if it comes out of the blue, how can I anticipate it? That was a really stupid thing to say. Getting to the end of the day, I don't know, I don't know how you feel, but I think they've done very, very well. I think they've done, in a really, really difficult window. They brought in 5 players, touch wood, and I think that certainly you would argue that most of them would go straight into the team. Wood obviously has gone into the team. I wouldn't expect him to stay there if Wilson is fit necessarily, but that come in and make a difference. And they've gone down the route of experience, all of them with Premier League experience, apart from Guimaraes, obviously. But I think he's the player that represents a calculated gamble, in the sense that you just never know how long it'll take for a player to adapt. But I think also he's the sort of transformative signing, or has the power to be. And it started off with Kieran Trippier. I still think he's a fantastic signing. I think he represents everything that you'd want a Newcastle player to be, or I would. He's an England international. He's at the top of his game, and most importantly, he's come to the club at a really, really difficult moment, prepared to roll his sleeves up. Sorry to use that phrase. Copyright Steve Bruce. And have a go. And have a go. And that attitude has kind of gone through, is like a seam running through everybody they've signed this month. And we have to hope it's enough. But I do think that, we've had some moments of doubt and frustration and so on over the course of the last kind of few weeks. But I think they've delivered, and now it's up to the manager and the team to hopefully get a few wins. That's the big thing.
I'll leave you with 2 questions, George, before I let you go and start scribbling, mate. Do you think we've done enough to stay up? That is.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. I think the team. I think the first 11 is significantly stronger. The Leeds, Matt. I came out of, don't know about you, but I came out of Watford thinking that was probably it. That they had to win that game, and they didn't, and against a really poor side. And I sort of thought that was probably it, because if they couldn't win that, when could they win? Leeds changed things a bit, and I think if you'd reversed those 2 results, probably you'd have probably said part of the, that has to be the minimum requirement, but we'd have probably felt okay about that. I think it's given them a lift by all accounts. Going away last week, albeit there were conversations at the top of the club about whether that was a distraction and whether they needed that distraction. I think that's been good for them by all accounts, and so hopefully now there's a bit of momentum with them. I think we'll see a lot, won't we, in the next couple of games? They feel really crucial to me, but they're not adrift. And I think the most important thing is they've given themselves a proper chance. They've addressed the areas they needed to address, perhaps not completely, but the squad and the team is significantly stronger now. So I don't know is the answer, but fingers crossed.
I don't think any Newcastle United fan can turn around now and say that they haven't given it the best shot the other owners. They certainly have.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, and they work tirelessly. I know this kind of sounds like PR for them, and I don't mean it to, but that this isn't their natural field of expertise. They've had to learn on the job. One of the people I spoke to today said they haven't slept for a week. I tend to I tend to sort of believe that. I mean, I think there's probably, there's not much hyperbole in that. They've been doing it themselves. They've had to rely on people already at the club, like Steve Nixon. He's had a very prominent role. Eddie Howe has kind of stepped forward and has really been operating as sort of director of football as well as head coach. I think it's put strain on everybody. Amanda Staveley did the deal for Matt Target herself. She was the one that picked up the phone to it. So they've done it. They've done it all. And perhaps in an ideal world they'd have had a director of football and a CEO to do those sorts of things. Without those people in place, they've really put everything into it. And I think it. I mean, what I like about it is that they've done a lot of work, but it's been a very realistic window. Yes, they went after people like Botman and
Carlos.
And Carlos, thank you. Who would have been, I think they would have been absolutely fantastic signing. I mean, I can't fault that ambition, and I like the attitude of both of those players. I think they'd have fit in with what I talked about earlier. But they've kind of gone for what the team need, and ultimately they've got what they can get, and they've done it. Wood is a kind of good example of that. I mean, did they think they'd be spending 25 million quid on a 30-year-old striker? Absolutely not. Will that money be worth it if Newcastle stay up? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely yes. And there's the kind of parallels are made with Man City, who went out and bought Rubinho when their takeover went through. And but Man City were in a very different place to Newcastle at that time. And Newcastle have gone for what's realistic. They've gone for people who will battle, who will, fingers crossed, settle in straight away, who know what's being asked of them, and they're tackling the here and now. I think one of the things I've loved about going to the last two games, I mean, admittedly I said that Watford was pretty awful, and it was, but the last couple of home games, that is, and indeed the Cambridge game, profoundly disappointing, especially for an old twat like me who was brought up to think of the third round of the FA Cup as the most important day of the season. It was horrific that day. But I was just looking at the stadium without those damn awful adverts, full of kids, which was kind of great, and it stopped me swearing too much. And you can see the future when you go to Newcastle now. That's the thing. You can feel it. Can you not? You can sort of think to yourself,
100%.
in a year's time, this club will be better. I mean, it might be in the Championship, but the club will be better. There'll be a serious CEO. There'll be a director of football. The club
There'll be a
will
plan,
be
George.
There'll be a plan, and you can feel that. That's the sort of really exciting thing. In amongst all the sort of difficult results, and that's the thing with now. I think the thing I like about what's happened this month, it's almost saying the future can wait. Let's get on with, let's deal with now. And I think they've given the club every chance.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, mate. Finally, before you go, because I know you'll be busy after this one, your favourite ever Newcastle United January transfer incoming?
You mean player?
Yeah.
Individual player. Well,
Ooh,
I haven't been any for,
I wonder what were you thinking otherwise?
Well, favourite window, I thought you were going to say. I was going to say they've all been absolutely shit, haven't they?
Your favourite player, mate?
As I said, oh God, you put me on the spot there. I can't think of any.
So we've had a few shouts to Bravka, Willick, Kennedy, Cisse, Lovenkrands.
He named all the ones we haven't had.
Yeah. Shefki Kuchi has to be right up there.
You can tell you spent too much time around
too much
Chris.
time with Woff.
Didn't is that what he said?
He said the same, yeah.
Well, funny enough, we've written a bit about that today, so we probably got it in our heads. But yeah, we were sort of saying that January windows are usually, as Newcastle fans, we're normally thinking about the bad stuff. So it's the window when Andy Carroll leaves after the manager says he's not for sale at any price. It's the window that Rafa fumes. It's the window when not necessarily January, all of it, but just transfer windows in general. Think back to this last bloody summer when the club brief that the club brief that their business has done. Steve Bruce is still desperately trying to get Chowdhury on loan. And then a few days later, they released that statement with nobody's name attached to it, basically slapping down Bruce, saying that we all knew that was no money. Oh my God! I mean, unbelievable. Yeah, someone on the screen, John, saying Asprilla. That wasn't a window then, though, was it? I don't think there was.
Yeah, it was
a
just
window.
normal transfers, wasn't it?
But yeah, in terms of class January acquisitions, he has to be up there. I mean, I sat in on Alan Shearer's interview with Kieran Trippier, which we did at the Athletic, and
brilliant.
You know, I love what he represents. I do. I think that's really powerful. There's been quite a few fullbacks who've come to Newcastle over the years at kind of key moments in the club's history. You know, there's a touch of the sort of Barry Venison about that, which I like. But and you just hope. And Kieran sort of talked about hopefully that he could have some influence on other players coming. And you know, we've spoken to agents around the place who say the same thing, that him coming will persuade others. And it's you know, perhaps it needed results. Perhaps that Leeds result was important. But I love what he represents. I love the fact he wanted to come to the north. I love the fact that he almost joined Man United in the summer, or you know, they tried to sign him, but he hasn't sulked about that. And he swapped a team that's, you know, right now he swapped a team that's in the Champions League, preparing to play Man United, funnily enough, and he's come here. And you know, it's not. He is absolutely. It's absolutely batshit that. And
I still can't get my head around it. And George, you summed it up. You know, that's the kind of signing that we dream about and would love to see at Newcastle. And you know, you would never imagine that happening in recent times, and it just makes you even more grateful for the takeover happening back in October.
Mm. Yeah, and Guimaraes is another one. I mean, we'll have to see how that works out. I mean, I'm very excited about the potential there. But for someone like him, who's been chased by, you know, Arsenal and other clubs we know, to come to the club. I mean, you don't want people here for one last ride, you know, for one last payday, for the money. You need people to buy in. And what I love about Trippier, I mean, for all that we have complained about the team's results this season, some of the performances have been lousy. I know that. There has always been that spirit around this current team that really, you know, the spine of it has been there since 2016. And I want to pay, actually, I kind of want to pay tribute to those players as well. It might sound a bit silly, but as we start thinking about those players going or being moved on or leaving squad numbers, you know, the club have really needed them. And the fact that they've been the mainstay of the squad over this last year and 2 years is not their fault. It's the fault of bad recruitment on behalf of the club. It's the fault of bad coaching. It's the fault of all sorts of things. But those players have been really important. And someone like Trippier would, you know, we know that they'll buy into that kind of spirit. We've seen the evidence of that spirit in those brilliant pictures in the dressing room after the 2 wins. I know fans of other clubs have taken the piss out of that, but I love those pictures. And Trippier, to me, represents that. So, yeah, I'm going to say him, and it's very early days to pick him, but I just love what that stands for right now.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks very much, George. It's been a pleasure as always. We'll let you go. Crack on with your night, mate.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, George.
Cheers, George. Nice to see you all. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
So some breaking news while George was on is Rangers have announced the signing of Aaron Ramsey on loan. That's quite a coup for them, isn't it?
That might be the best deal of the transfer window, to be fair.
Has he been that good at Juve?
He has been playing.
Yes.
But for Rangers to get him.
I cannot.
Are you surprised he's gone to Rangers? I'm surprised he's gone.
I'm surprised that going to Rangers means that no one in the Premier League wanted him.
Well, there was rumours he turned down Palace, wasn't it? Was the
Palace? I think I heard Burnley as well.
Maybe it was Burnley. Yeah, definitely the Palace one I've seen a lot.
Well, I haven't said that. You're going to a club who are probably going to win the league, albeit in Scotland, which is it's not.
They'll win the league. They'll get into Europe.
Yeah,
whether they qualify.
Going to Rangers isn't what it was like when Gascoigne went, or when you know, like Ali McCoist up front and what's his face in goal, Scotland keeper Andy Gorham. Yeah. It's going to Rangers isn't what it was then. Gerrard would have been quite a big draw if he'd have still been. Obviously, he's gone now. But yeah, I think that what that means is that Premier League clubs might have had a look at him and gone like, I don't really fancy that.
I think it's a choice of that or the Championship. You're going there. I mean, the Rangers are a massive club. In the grand scheme of things,
they're only about 5-year-old as well, aren't they?
Stop it.
Well, they are.
But it's a massive signing for them. Like, to be fair, that's quite a statement.
Would you have had him, Mark?
I'd have had him in. He definitely improves us.
I feel as though I would have done, but there must be a reason. Well, I'm kind of thinking like maybe I'm just trying to kind of.
He's knocking on a bit, isn't he?
Do you not think you overfill the midfield if you bring another midfielder in? Because there's we've just had a discussion about
when you look at the
Joelinton.
midfield that we've got there, like,
No, but
just is he better than Sean Longstaff?
Well, yeah, but John Joe Shelby's probably playing the best football that he's played for us recently. You've got same argument with Joelinton. Joelinton's probably been our best midfielder over the last handful of games, and we've just brought Bruno in as well. If you bring Aaron Ramsey into the mix as well, then what?
Well, I think that the thing is, with Alex Ramsey, he ain't going to come and sit on the bench, is he?
Exactly.
He's going to move to start.
We're going to have to offer him that guaranteed game time.
I don't think, and it's nice to say this, actually, I don't think we can offer him it. I don't think we can say you will start every week.
If he's not, has he been injured this season or just out of?
I think a bit of both. I think a bit of both.
Well, I think there's a lot of people suggesting in the comments the reason that he may have gone to Rangers is because of guaranteed Champions League football.
Is it guaranteed though?
Well, the qualifiers.
Apparently, the Scottish champions go straight to the Champions League group stages.
Did they?
I thought they had to go into the qualifiers.
Certainly, you still have the coefficient.
I'm just going off. I'm just trusting this person, but apparently, yeah.
I find that,
it's bullshit, isn't it, Digger? That's what you're going to say. It is bullshit.
I do actually.
Just go with him, mate. Just say what you feel.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I think Champions League football. It isn't like. All right, you'll go in Champions League football. You'll get beat up Villarreal or something in the first round or whatever. So, he's
not going into a Champions League team in the Premier League, is he? Not a chance. He's not going.
There's a different. The Newcastle are better than some Champions League teams, but it's just kind of the nature of the competition that you
could make the argument as well. Just talking about midfielders, that pushes Joe Willock further down the pecking order as well. I think we've got to give these players a chance alongside that.
I'm saying he's better than Joe.
But he hasn't played.
Obviously, that's the thing is
the thing is the players
age on the injuries and things like that.
The players that were born, you've had a discussion about Ericsson when I went out sat over there. But the players that we need right here and now are players that are match fit, ready to go.
Well,
those two aren't.
But this was why I thought Ericsson would have been what it was.
He hasn't played for
months. And that's fine. But to me, I'm not expecting him to play yet, like for a while. But I just thought having him in and around his experience, he might come in March, say after a month's training, and have a bit of quality that we might need or rely on. However, going back to your point, of course, we've paid £25 million for Joe Willock. We need to be giving this guy a push, right? I would say, and that's why I mentioned before the Leeds game. Ironically, he started, but I said I just had a feeling that he might come in and start to get more game time because of the price that we've paid for him. You know what I mean?
I think he's one that we can definitely see using him as we did last season as that impact player later on into the game.
That's a good point.
When he kind of can come on when against tiring defenses and tiring midfielders, and
because Bruce got a lot of shit for not starting him. Didn't he?
But he was much more effective.
Then he scored.
He was a bit hit and miss by what he wasn't like.
Yeah,
it wasn't like he turned up and then immediately just started banging goals in. Like I'm saying that I think he just got his debut, so that kind of does negate what I'm saying.
Lovely move that was as well.
Yeah, so that when he arrived late in the box.
Yeah, Maxi.
But he doesn't. He wasn't like. He wasn't a massive success to start with. It was that run at the end of the season, that last 7 games. That was kind of where he. Yeah.
No, you're totally right. Yeah. Well, I said this and I got wrong a lot of times. Certainly, our friends more than Twitter, but I said he didn't need out in a game except score.
At times,
I never seen him link up play. I didn't really see him put a tackle in. I see him lost the ball quite a bit. Didn't really beat a man, but we score a goal. And at the end of the day, it was them goals that were winning us games of football, and that was the end of it. All I was saying was, if you take that goal out of his performance, what has he done?
That is the exact opposite argument as you've applied to Maximin of late.
Thank you, because I was exactly thinking that.
I knew you would be. Explain what you mean, though.
Because he said, like, against those certain games where Maximin's done nothing, but he's chipped him with a goal, and then that's then become like, but he's worth playing because he's done that. I'm not trying to.
No. What I was saying was the point I'm trying to make now though is that we are now we're not even getting the goal or the assist now.
Yeah, we're not. No,
so now we are getting what Willock was doing without. I understood why he'd be playing because he's scoring goals, and that's fine. What I was saying was, if he doesn't score them goals though, and I'll cast your mind back to fact about a week ago, I said if Maxi goes on a run of this poor form, everyone says, and doesn't score or assist for 4 or 5 or 6 games, he asks questions.
Yeah.
Because then what are you doing? What are you actually doing?
What you're
That's the
contributing,
point
yeah.
I'm trying to make.
Because we've got a Brazilian flag on the table, because Bruno's probably, I know we've been speaking a lot about Trippier, but Bruno is up there, like,
I am
marquee
absolutely
signings.
fully erect at the thought of Bruno.
All right.
I can't wait for you to start slagging him off in a few weeks.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that.
You have just walked direct into that door, you know. That's what you've done. You just.
What's that?
It's
You not
coming,
remember
it's
the
coming,
first
Mark,
words I ever sent about Alan St. Maximin?
Pretty much exactly the same.
He was the greatest player I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I think
after
he did,
that,
yeah.
but
Ever seen. It only takes you a few months to change.
It'll be. I'll judge him on what he does on the pitch. But
Has anyone got a coin on them?
he,
Well,
Yeah,
you
you think it is?
defended well after Brazilian hard. Like, no matter what criticism was coming, you were the one, banging that drum, and that's good. Fair enough. Hey, that's good on you. So I have no doubt you'll do the same. But
I was going to say I've got one of them as a goal, saying aye.
so I'm gonna. Oh, sorry, you go, Chris. You're on, Sean.
So I'm going to have a little mini Mark versus Decker.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. So heads or tails, Decker?
Heads.
Tails. Right. So
I don't know how you're
Newcastle
saying that.
United.
what does that mean? I go first.
You go first. Yeah. Well, if you normally win heads and tails, you go first. Yeah. So
Don't know what competition is.
Newcastle United, Bruno will be the 6th Brazilian to sign for the club.
Right.
So we're going to go in order. Okay. So you get to go first. You don't have to name the first Brazilian player that was signed, but you have to name one Brazilian player. that was signed.
Mirandinha.
Correct.
That was the one I was thinking of.
Take over to you.
Joe Linton.
Mark, back to you. You keep the scores.
I'm stuck now if you want. If you get
I wasn't, but I can.
Kachapa. Kasapa.
Do I give you a fucking chopper?
I thought you did that on purpose.
Kasapa, correct. This is also
How many did you say?
This is also
6?
including loans. The 6 Brazilian,
Oh, right,
Brazilian
yeah.
players
I've got just one.
Yeah.
now you said
to
that.
play for Newcastle.
So we've got now 3.
Yeah.
Right.
I've got 2. Yeah, like 2 more.
I think I've got 2. I've got 1.
We have one then.
Definitely. I think I've got 2.
I'm going to say one here. I don't even think he played for.
I think I've got them all.
Fullmaker.
That was the one.
That was one.
That was the one I didn't.
I'm now done.
Kennedy.
Oh,
I can't believe you didn't get Kennedy.
3-2, aye.
Yeah.
Would you get in Fullmaker?
No, that was the one I couldn't think of.
So Mark wins that round, 3-2.
Facunda Faria. Is he the last one?
No, he wasn't
Was
Brazilian.
it
Was
he
he?
not
Helder
Brazilian?
Cristobal?
He wasn't Brazilian, was
Was
he?
he Portuguese, was he?
Can't remember. He wasn't Brazilian.
Helder. Helder was
Wasn't on the list.
Portuguese. Who was
Right,
the-
so you win that round.
Who was the last one?
Kennedy.
No,
Bruno?
this one then. 'cause
No,
I-
there's
that's
one.
3-2.
There was 3, 2. There must be one.
What happened?
Is he?
5?
You said.
Oh, you said 6 though.
You said
Well, the
6.
6 because Bruno's the 6th one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
fair
right.
play, aye. Just said
Oh, I should have said Bruno.
Who was Facunda? Was Faria?
Facundo
I
Ferreira.
think it's Portuguese.
Argentinian.
Argentinian.
He was Argentine, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Helder was Portuguese.
He was Argentinian. Right, so next round. Now we are going to guess the players that we signed these players from.
What? The clubs, you mean?
The clubs.
Oh, okay,
Oh, sorry,
the
sorry,
clubs.
the clubs that we
That's
signed
fine.
them
I can get
from. Mark, you went first, and you said Mirandina, so you've got to tell me
Oh,
who
God.
we signed him from.
Jesus, I can't remember.
I can't remember where we'll go.
Palermo's.
I can't even remember.
Mirandina.
Top one.
No, because that's how I thought you said Palermo was in Palermo, but that's in Italy.
No. Palmeiras, is it?
I'm gonna have to
Palmeiras.
give him
We've got
that.
that, like, aye.
I'm gonna have to
Fair
give him that.
That's
Like,
all right, that's fine.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I got Joe from.
Zeka, your next one was Joe Linton.
Oh, fuck,
Where
was
did
it?
we sign Joe from?
Can't remember.
The most recent one.
I know it is. I know. Well, I know it's a German club. I just can't remember the name of it.
Mark watches
Is
a lot
it,
of Bundesliga, remember?
Are you watching? Don't
I did.
Is it? Oh no. Cologne? No. I don't know what it was.
Hamburg, wasn't it?
Hoffenheim.
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 Mark,
Sorry.
you came back with.
Kennedy.
No, you didn't. You came back with Casapa.
Fucking.
Where did we sign Casapa from?
Oh, he was
I've
captain
got
as well.
Fullback there.
He was captain as well. Was Casapa. Oh, there's a really big clue I'll give here as well.
There was a really big. Clue.
Was it a Spanish club?
No.
Hey, whoa.
Oh shit.
Me asking
Yes.
friends.
Maybe. But I said no. Yes, maybe. Didn't really give me the answer.
Can I steal it?
If you want me, not like you're gonna know.
Benfica.
No, Decker, I think I'm not going to give you a clue here. I'm not going to give a clue. But as a man who played a lot of Pro Evo, this was a really good club on Pro Evo around that time. Maybe it was a couple of years before.
I'm not going to give you a clue, but I'm going to give you a massive clue.
It's not a massive clue at all. He doesn't know.
It's not who I thought then. Is it a Spanish club? No, it's not. Oh, I fucked.
Portuguese?
No, I'll tell you.
Go on then.
We've just signed a player from that exact same club.
Leon.
Yeah.
Leon.
Bloody hell. Was it? He was club captain.
Now that worries us slightly, like, because like you're talking like a captain of Leon and Casaba wasn't. But Casaba wasn't.
Zega, who did you go for next?
Fumaca.
Right, where do we sign him from?
Ferrari. Fumaca.
Is that the takeaway?
Oh, maybe the takeaway, yes. Do you know where Fumaca was from? Hello, mate, you all right? Hello? Yes, sir, yeah. Have you got the food, have you? Oh, cool. Are you downstairs, are you? Awesome, mate. Well, I'll come down now for you.
This is riveting viewing.
Thanks, mate.
For anybody that's watching here.
We're just ordering some food.
That's a takeaway. That's a takeaway en route.
Fumaca. God, do you know it?
I haven't got a clue.
I haven't got a clue. Like, I'm going to say.
I think he's going to be really shocked by this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Deportivo.
Anybody know?
Nah, I'm got a clue.
Atletico Madrid.
No, Crystal Palace.
Did we?
No, it is. I was going to say Leeds to be a dick.
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
Who was next? It was
Kennedy.
you went with Kennedy.
Chelsea.
Yeah,
when he's back there.
And next, that was it. That was it. Deco, where was signed Bruno from?
Leon.
Well done, mate.
Well done.
Right. Yeah, and that was a little mini Mark versus Decker.
Well done, Mark. Well done,
you won.
I'll go 4-2.
I have to let you win at something.
Yeah, Mark won.
I always win Mark versus Decker.
So we are going to disappear for about 10 minutes and we'll be back. Okay?
I'm going to film me tits.
Watch what they're doing. We're going for some food. We're not going to cut the stream off. The camera's going to disappear. The audio is going to disappear. But we're still going to be here. Okay? See you later.
Still live.
Hi, everybody. It's Chris here from the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Just to let you know, as always, this podcast is now part of the 90-Minute Football Network and proudly sponsored by www.pt-4-u.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. That was nice, boys, wasn't it?
It was a nice little...
Suitably refreshed.
Well, I think we need to just have a quick conversation about what happened when we got on the lift, Mark.
Yeah. So yeah.
Did it?
No, it
cause,
didn't,
Did
but-
it cause you any distress whatsoever?
In the lift, it did.
So, as those that were there before we cut off because our food had arrived. We've just had 4 pizzas delivered, a couple of kebabs, a few bits of garlic. So, Decker, you got the phone call. People saw you taking the phone call from the delivery guy. So, you accompanied Mark downstairs.
Yes, and unfortunately, as I should, surprisingly. So I had to go out the basement all the way around. The guy didn't think we were even here, did he? He was going to leave. He was going to do off, but we were gone. Fine. But I had 4 pizzas. Mark carried the pizzas. We got into the lift. And I'm not sure what the technique was, but he like...
I rested them on the handrail.
Yeah, on the handrail. And then I think he was trying to pull your pants up or scratch your arse or something like that. And then next thing you know...
So they dropped a little bit, so I was just hiking them.
He was pulling them up and then...
So what was the other? So the rail was holding one side of the pizza. What was
rest
the
of
other
his
box?
body.
He's like,
Press
Then
the
you
pressure,
decided
yeah.
it was a good idea to pull your pants up while your belly was
And he
holding.
went like that, and the pizzas just went, see you. And then 4 of them just landed on the floor.
So all pizzas fell on the floor. Box though.
2 of them did. I still had that caught 2.
With what? Your dick?
With my hands.
I like how they just fell on the floor as if they're going to... Like, that's literally the worst thing that could have happened. When I said pissed
Was
on
there
it.
anything wrong
No,
at
there
all
wasn't.
with them?
No, there wasn't.
I don't have any...
Other than a little bit of additional bolognese sauce being on the top.
What?
Of the lid.
Yes.
Oh, hang on. A
No
hot,
one says this.
a hot,
Whoa,
a hot
so
G
glad
and
you caught on
bolognese.
it.
Back. What sauce?
Bolognese.
We've had this discussion before,
Yeah.
and you agreed that we were right.
It's bolognese.
It's not bolognese.
It is bolognese.
It sounds like bolognese. You're
It's
saying
bolognese.
Is bolognese from Bologna?
It's bolognese.
it's not.
It's bolognese.
It's bolognese.
How do you say belong? Do you say belong?
Say what? Hell?
Belong.
Belong.
Yeah.
Belong.
G.
No, because I'm saying long. Long.
But you just
Well, longer stuff.
Got a good.
In the chat, however. So is it
Long stuff.
Is it what you say it again?
We've had this.
I
before,
can't even
man.
say it like he says it.
There's people that pronounce it bolognese. There's people that say bolognese.
yeah, Italians.
Bolognese.
You're from Gateshead.
like bolognese.
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 Spag bog. You call it spag bol.
Spag bog.
Spag bog.
Do you go to Spag Bog?
Yeah.
Do you really? That's
You
even
don't.
worse.
We've had this discussion before.
We never got
We
this
have
far.
had this
You call it
discussion.
spag bog, but
Spag bog?
the G comes about 5 minutes after the L.
Spag bog.
It's spag bol, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Spag
Spag bol.
Yeah, it's spag bog.
Spag
Did you say Bugsy instead of Bugsy as well?
You know.
Spaghetti Bugsy.
You know the answer to this.
Bugsy, I'll get there for a spag bug.
That's
Gateshead's fucking wild, like.
I think we could do a full show on like the things Mark says like
I'm sure
incorrect.
we'll have.
There's something else as
It's
well.
not
that one.
incorrect. This is just how.
No, mate,
you
it
say
is incorrect. No,
It
is.
is.
No,
It's
you
100%.
believe it to be
No,
incorrect.
it's
You say it
100%.
differently.
There's not a single person in there that's agreeing with you. So,
Was there a player you said earlier on as well that was just hilarious?
Spag bug.
Slimmy?
No, oh, that's the worst one.
Slimming.
Oh, Dwight
Slimming is
York.
a good January.
No,
signing, wasn't it?
Dwight York. You'll never live that one up. No, he said something earlier on, and I'm sure I best said, what, who? Oh, it'll come back.
Yes, I
Come
did.
on.
I can't think of
Can
who
you
it was.
remember? It was
Aye.
Kivosh?
No,
That's
no.
what we're talking about.
No, that was. Oh God, who was it?
For
It was a short name.
Kachapa.
Kachapa.
Anyway, for the real purpose of why we're here tonight,
Doesn't Chris Boyd look Scottish?
there's 45 minutes left of the transfer window,
Yeah, there is.
There are.
and we still haven't announced Dan Burn. Is
I
that,
think-
worrying anybody?
I think the sales has locked him in a cupboard somewhere because he's worried.
I'm not worried. It's just the club. I just obviously
It's
delaying
surprising,
it a
right?
little
It's
bit.
weird.
Nah, I think they'll probably just be waiting till.
Do you think they want to be the last team to make a sign?
I reckon you'll probably see about 10:30.
I was going to ask George about it actually. If it's something that happens where players sign and it's all done and they strategically wait for whatever reason. Like, I mean, obviously they sign before they do the photos and the kit and all that and the videos and whatnot. But I wonder if there is like a kind of a strategy behind it sometimes.
Well, gone are the days of, I remember when Ruud Gullit signed Kieran Dyer, someone else will help us. We had 3 players, if I remember rightly, and I was really excited for Kieran Dyer. No, it wasn't Nobby, no.
It was later on, maybe, yeah.
Well, Gullit signed 3 players, I remember, and he's like standing, I remember the picture quite vividly. The 3 of them together. Goma. It was Goma, Dyer, and someone else.
Didier Domi?
That might have been
Domi. Not Frank Dumas.
I don't know, maybe. He scored a lovely goal in pre-season, didn't he? Dumas,
did he?
Oh, unbelievable goal.
100-year-old French.
Against Monaco in pre-season. See, how can I remember that? How can I remember Dumas going against...
Couldn't even know where Bud Joelinton from.
Exactly that, yes, I know. Anyway, never mind. I've got a quick question.
Yeah, what is your quick question?
Does that one surprise you?
Van der Beek.
So Degger's looking at Van der Beek going
Van der Beek even.
Steak Beek going to
Van der Beek, right?
Only because apparently the reason he turned us down was because of a relegation fight. They're not far from it. They were dropping.
Well,
5 points anyway,
let's face it. We play them on a week on Tuesday. If we beat them, they're 1 point ahead of us.
Dragged right back in it, aren't they?
Does Lampard going there, I don't know, worry you at all?
Absolutely not.
Not at all?
No.
He's a funny one, Lampard, because he's left teams lower than he's found them. Derby and Chelsea both were in a poor position. But the Chelsea thing was a weird one because I had the transfer embargo and he used the likes of Reece James.
He got quite a bit of that.
He did.
Abraham.
Tammy Abraham was one. There was another defender, and I can't. Timothy Fonsu Mensah, who went to Milan. Was he one of the?
Actually, I think you're right, yeah.
I forget now, but he got a lot out of the young lads there. Like, so I'm the jury's out on me and Lampard. Like, we'll see what happens. Yeah, hopefully he's shite.
For me, he did. He got out. He had to blood a lot of the youngsters, and they did well for him coming through there. But at Chelsea, at Derby, he's struggled defensively massively. They've conceded a lot of goals, and that's something that Everton are hemorrhaging at the minute. Is they're really poor at the back. So is he the man to tighten that up? If Rafa Benitez, who is a defensive,
holy shit, 2 hours, 41 minutes
without mentioning him. If he can organise that defence, then
actually George mentioned
what hope does Frank Lampard have?
George mentioned him.
I think it's a good point. I'd also say I'm not sure that Everton were fully pulling in the right direction for Rafa. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think some players wanted him at all. But
look at Dean certainly didn't like him, did he?
No. Do you know it's mad as well? Not go down.
Look at Dick
might as well. When you think Rafa was in there, and then they sacked the director of football, they sacked the tea lady, they sacked the training coach, they got rid of
physio and doctor,
and then they sack him, and you're like, you're just getting rid of all of your backroom staff, and you're getting rid of a hell of a good player there.
Rafa's renowned doing this. Did he not do the same at Liverpool? Where he got rid of the academy setup or something ridiculous like that. I don't remember.
He did loads at Liverpool. Very
he's there a lot longer than what he was at Everton.
He did at Napoli as well. I'm sure he did.
He was going to do it with us, wasn't he? That was kind of a part of his plan, part of his ambition for Newcastle was that he was going to do a total overhaul.
Yeah,
and ironically, when you listen to George there before, he's saying that Eddie Howe's basically being a director of football, being a coach, being everything, and that's probably what Rafa would have loved to
do you think what George mentioned as well when we had George on there, he said that Amanda Stevie was literally the one that got Targan in. She was the one that
I did find that
made the phone call.
Yeah, I was going to ask him that, like, if they'd had any help in the transfer window, but obviously then he went on and answered himself with kind of talking about Nixon and the fact that Eddie Howe had almost been the director of football, and then, but that was the big one for me, was that it was Amanda picking up the phone to Villa that got that done. That's
when he was on about someone having sleepless nights. I'm guaranteed that's Kadusi me. Like, that's lovely made that. Like, I'm sure of it, because he seems to be at the forefront of all sorts.
He's just been at home chilling, him, man.
He's been watching.
He's looked tired in some of his photos when my fans. He's like got red eyes. And I'm 7 a week, man.
Bro takes a good photo. I said it earlier on Twitter. He takes a good photo. Kadusi, like, he's a good looking bloke.
Oh, he is a good looking bloke. Yeah, he is. He was at
Persian.
He was at Kingston Park. There was a match on
Sunday. Watching the lasses.
Sunday. He was there as well. I seen him, because one of the lads. He's doing everything, right?
His PR's very good.
Doing the rounds, like.
PR's. I'm a little bit. I think I've mentioned before the stuff on Twitter. You could maybe rein in a little bit, but the stuff he does, like,
I don't think we've mentioned this, because I'm sure it was when we were doing it last Monday. Is when he posted that photo on
the penalty
Instagram, the penalty one. So somebody had sent him that on Twitter. I seen it a couple of days prior. But he's obviously lifted that off Twitter and posted on his own social media.
Yeah.
He's copy and pasted the caption as well, to be fair to him. But Decker, this is something which you mentioned where this worries you a little bit, how his interaction basically on social media.
It does. It really does. I spoke to Bestie about it before, and I remember if I can show, is it the doctor who was the Aston Villa? Was he Dr.
Tony G?
Now, obviously, listen, I'm not saying that they are cut from the same cloth by any stretch, but
probably far from it, to be fair.
Yeah, what I mean though is like when someone's so active on Twitter, there was a one where a transfer didn't happen or something, or there was a rumor. Maybe
it was Michael Meggie, the Chelsea.
Go on, Mark. Go on, tell us. Go on, son.
I can't remember his name. The Chelsea.
I know who you mean. The director of football. And then
Melky or something. Wasn't it? I can't remember what he was called.
What's meant about him? He just keeps going, doesn't he?
I'm trying to remember his name.
I know, but just don't bother saying any names though, because it'll be like
Mentetti. You know what? At this point, I go whatever his name is, but you'll go Melky Molly.
Malky Mackay.
What was it?
Exactly.
Michael Melky or something like that.
That'll do it. There we go, Mark. That's it. From now on, he's known as that. So he come out and obviously
Emanalo
was against that, right? And then but that particular one, obviously, of course, like today we've signed Matt Target. He's like, "Welcome to the club." But that's great, right? Crack on with that.
Yeah.
That's all right. And the lads have won a game of football, and he retweets a post of them all like that. Well done, lads! Great win, fantastic. Keep them coming. But the one of the Carlsberg did owners, and it's him with a Photoshop of Shearer's head.
Little bit too much.
That's too much. It has to be too much.
I love the interaction. I do love the interaction when he's replying to fans on the likes of Twitter and stuff like that. It's great. It is.
He's not arguing with fans, and he's not.
This is the honeymoon
Do you
period
think
right
he
now.
will, though?
Well, it could not be an extension of we've talked about how they've learned on the job with the stuff with Unai Emery, then end up getting Howe in the transfer window stuff, getting the director of football. Could this not just be part of that? Like,
I think it'll get to the point where somebody will probably say to him,
rein it in a bit. Like, I mean, I'm not going to compare them. I'm not being favourable at all, but Mike actually started off and then quickly kind of said, right, I need to. And it's one of the few things he got right.
After he did
in the end was like when he was buying people drinks in Blue Bamboo and down in pints in the Emirates, wasn't it? I think it was. And then it didn't last long. That he was getting a lot of abuse.
What's your thoughts on fans tagging the owners as well?
Stop doing this.
No, it's just. Well, I'm not a fan of it. I'll just slightly change. You know, when Newcastle United put a picture on a happy birthday to Dubravka, and then someone will be like, sign a player, you bastard.
Yeah,
what are you doing, man? What are you
mad,
doing?
Isn't it?
There's some 18-year-old got a Twitter account, and he's probably in his bedroom, and you're like, sign a player. Honestly, that is it. And to go back to what you're saying, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's the way that the world is, isn't it? I guess.
I don't mind them tagging them in, thanking them, or praising them, or stuff like that. But
that's the one.
Why can't you?
Why don't you sign this player? Tag the owners, and they're not going to listen.
Might not. I did say I did it earlier with Defoe. I said tag Grant in it via the NUFC account. Like, so I am guilty.
He's not the owner though.
I slag Boris off all the time. I don't tag him in the tweet.
Oh, like, with Boris Johnson.
But he's not going to say it, man.
It's catharsis, that though.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway,
Trump used to be on his Twitter account.
Technically, my employer as well.
I just worry slightly with
somebody's just a great shout, which I hadn't thought of. Yeah, I'm changing the subject completely. But he has said, "I hope they do a Royal Navy born in Blythe, made in Newcastle style video for Burn."
Yes,
that would be a shout.
That would be brilliant. Yeah, mind you, Burnley's today was awesome. Can I just say?
The Jurassic Park.
Absolutely, loved it.
I wasn't a fan.
Really?
I thought it was really good. That guy.
Oh, I thought it was great.
I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I did like it.
Loved it, me.
But you like Jurassic Park though? Is that not why?
No, I just thought it was funny. I just wasn't expecting him to look through the binoculars and it would be bloody him scoring a goal or whatever it was.
Keith's back on the telly.
Is he looking happy?
The lights are off there, buddy. You're done.
Let's give George some credit. George said first thing this morning that the names are already associated. That was it. I think yes, that he had a bid confirmed for what's he called, Mark?
Kit Kat. He was calling.
Who?
Him. Is it now he is?
Oh, Nikita. Him.
Edin Kedia.
No.
Ekitike.
So yeah, we'll obviously
tongue twister,
the loan was
not
the loan. The price was agreed, and the clubs had came to agreement, and that was down to the player. Really, you can't blame the club on that one. They tried.
Do you think that's a? It might sound daft, I'm going to say, but like you've submitted an awful lot of money for someone, and then he doesn't want to come. Do you not think they would have maybe already found out that he's got reservations or doesn't want to come? So like I don't know. Like so many.
You would have thought there would have been a conversation. You're not supposed to do this.
So
Would have been a conversation with the agent.
Well, Carlos had apparently already agreed terms. Botman had already agreed terms. I've agreed terms. You know what I mean? Like literally, it seemed to be that they've talked to everybody first, and I just found that a bit strange that they've
when they say they've agreed terms, do you not think it's the agent has agreed terms because they're the ones that'll be going in and saying
the agent
this is how much they want to be paid.
Nah.
This is what the
but that's what I mean though. Like so, they've sounded him out. They've spoken to his agent. They said he'd want X for X amount of time.
The agents had that conversation with the player.
Yeah, that's right. So for Newcastle to put a bid in, I feel as if they would have been informed. Oh yeah, he's interested in coming. So right, we'll put the money on the table. Whereas on this particular transfer, it looks like we'll bid and then he's went on.
Yeah, so it seems like the player wasn't expecting this bid coming in.
Yeah, well, that's because we obviously bid from what, a week, 2 weeks ago, because that was when it was first kind of linked. Because we sat around here and talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then it kind of went quiet because they didn't want to sell him, Rem. And then obviously, as we all always see with transfer deadline day, it always comes back around where suddenly they might then get an interest again because the parent club will say, well, maybe we will do a deal now if you up it to this.
So Scott's put in there saying that he thinks the lads bottled it, but to me, I can see where he's coming from.
You what? Sorry,
I can see where he's coming from. The player not wanting
100%.
to leave.
I wouldn't have came. I wouldn't have came if I was him.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either.
And it's not for me. It's not about bottling it. It's if I'm a 19-year-old kid who's only been playing in the first team since September, so I've had less than half a year of first team football. I'm doing pretty well in the league. Mm-hmm. Do I want to go into the Premier League in a team where I mightn't necessarily play every week? It might affect me development. If we are to believe what can possibly happen to this club, then you would imagine in the summer, bearing in mind what we've done so far this window, would be looking to reinforce even more and bring in other players. Is that going to knock him further down that pecking order? Is getting a start? And from a personal development point of view of improving him as a player, I think he's better off staying off where he is.
I have to agree. Yeah.
I can definitely see that point of view. Like I know I've got he's a young lad. Like I say, I think I jokingly mentioned that someone was like the modern day Steve Sidwell earlier on. Like, and it's kind of that's the worry, isn't it? As a young player, getting his game every week. If he moves on now to the Premier League, at that age, maybe he's not getting a game every weekend because we've got players in that position that are pretty well established. Fraser started playing really well, so Maximan looks excellent in the minute. Well, he's scored some goals now, isn't he? But
if Wilson's fit, he doesn't play, does he?
No, I don't. And I think it's kind of been referred to earlier a little bit with when you get we've got a really checkered history of getting attacking French players in Riviere, Thauvin, Cabella, who just weren't ready. Cabella and Thauvin certainly were just too light, too little. Riviere was just too shite. So like
too light, too shite.
Too light, too shite. So yeah, it's kind of. I don't always think that it's necessarily like the Premier League's the hardest league in the world to play in. Because I think you look at some teams abroad and you can like, well, yeah, but there's plenty. I think someone mentioned earlier about Merson mentioning that a player wouldn't be able to come in and or the certain teams kind of run more than other teams. Well, what about Dortmund? What about where was Mancini? Not Guardiola, Barca. The way they play football, it's a lot to do running, a lot to do with energy. So that's not harder in Spain. In fact, it probably is harder in Spain than over here because you've got
the weather.
Yeah. So I am not. I would like to have seen him come, maybe be one for the future and get nurtured by the club and kind of watch him come through. But I don't blame him.
Just not the right time to nurture.
Nah, not
is it?
I would have rather. I mean, didn't get that, but I would have rather had Lingard than him.
Yeah, definitely.
If you were, in terms of how I would have felt about it.
Now our current predicament that we're in.
Yeah, it's a lot of money as well for a relatively unknown and untested player.
If it is how, then. Well, if it isn't how, so someone in the club highly rates him.
How apparently likes what he sees, likes him as a player, and sees somebody in there. Which, from what I've seen him, because I've known nothing about him until we got linked the other week, and he does look like he likes to play on the front foot and likes those balls through. So you could see Bruno, with the type of player he is, him thriving off that kind of service from Bruno and getting into there because he likes to run in behind, but we'd have to adapt our style of play, and I think that's the idea of with signing him where that would come into it.
There's a shout there by El Gran Sam that says we should have bought him and loaned him back. I think the problem there is that we don't know where we are going to end up.
Yeah.
That's the stumbling block there.
In an ideal world, that would be a great option, but it's until we can be assured of our future, then it's a massive risk, isn't it?
When you look at like Bruno, so I'm sure I said it before that none of the deals would have a clause in place.
Yeah,
I don't think any of them have.
Do you think? Reported. I mean, is that a huge gamble that if we do go down that, well, I say a gamble. I mean, obviously, all I'm trying to say is they're going to stay with you, they'll still be paying top whack. So I guess we can afford that.
Yeah,
but it is surprising that there isn't anything in there. I do find it a bit surprising still.
Yeah, it is because you would expect, and we've had it in the past where we've taken players down, and actually both times when we went down, had to really kind of, I don't want to say bail out, because it sounds like I'm giving them credit here, but yeah, it is a surprise, and it's a surprise that
the player
would sign.
Yes,
yeah, because you think, mate, in a World Cup year, I keep saying it every week. I mention it in a World Cup year, but Bruno's on the fringe of the Brazil side, as he's even playing for them. He's not going to want to be in the Championship come the winter when they go to Qatar. Same applies for, I'd say, Trippier. For all Trippier's a fantastic signing, and if we're still captain material, if we go down, he's not going to want to be going to Rotherham away or something away.
Do you think it'll be a case like Wijnaldum then, where like we'll have him, he's great, all the rest of it, we'll go down anyway, and he just goes, and we just have to hold hands and go, yeah, fair enough.
Townsend,
Townsend, for example.
Because Townsend came in the January as well, didn't he? Yeah, but Wijnaldum as well. Yeah, players like you, I would have loved. I love Wijnaldum, but I think you've got to cut your losses on them.
I think
other than Wood, maybe Wood would.
I think the club have structured the deals right though to give them the incentive to want to stay up. So the fact that they've all got bonuses in there for surviving relegation, it's almost like they haven't got that get out of jail free card. That if we do, because you're almost, by having that relegation clause in there, you're almost kind of rewarding them for getting relegated rather than staying up. Whereas if you've got that bonus in to say, right, you keep us up this season, you're going to get X amount of money. That's more motivation than to say, well, if we go down, you can leave.
Yeah, but you could also say they've all got a contract, get a bonus if you finish in the top 10, and we can't do it because we're not good enough. All I'm saying is, I get what you're saying, but sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles. And what happens if one of these lads gets injured, or we just don't get the rub of the green, and it just doesn't happen for whatever reason, And I think the point I'm trying to make,
incentive to do it though, doesn't it?
It does. I'm just surprised that a player, would. Well, Wood's different. But I think some of the other players, such as Trippier, for example, to come and say, I don't want the clause in there, I find quite strange. I'm glad, man. I'm just saying it's strange.
The Trippier one, talking about the money spent, it was £12 million up front, wasn't it? I'm assuming if they stay up, then it's an extra.
It was rumored to be up to 20 million, wasn't it? So
£8 million. That's still
based on
£20 million. Still a snip for him, like
staying up and certain. I think was getting into.
In Europe
and stuff like that.
Well, I kept switching that. I kept switching that argument when people were having to go about Wood. Like, obviously, everyone was not Newcastle fans necessarily, but everyone was having to go out. Was saying £25 million for a 30-year-old.
Yeah,
he's not particularly the most exciting or flamboyant name type of thing. But I kept saying that. Well, if Trippier was 12, so if you swap them round, you'd be absolutely fine with it. So I look at it more of an overall figure than just man for man type of thing.
If Wood scores 5 goals out, get 15 points, then he's worth every penny.
Oh, exactly. Yeah,
I mean, it's type with ifs and buts, but it's if me Andy had tits.
And I still thought that we've weakened a relegation rival at that point. I know they've signed someone, but
what's your thoughts on that signing? So apparently nobody else would touch him because he hadn't been vaccinated.
Yeah, I'd seen that.
Apparently they had to sell him because if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to name him because he wouldn't be able to go into the hotels. He wouldn't be able to
stay in the team hotels and stuff
and all that kind of thing. So it's almost relieving them of a problem as well by selling them.
It goes back to what Beck said about Wood. If he scores 5 goals and keeps them up, it's one of them, isn't it? Where it'd be worth it.
He's a big old unit.
12 million's not much. If again a decent player as well, not a bad player. 12 million's good for him,
and it suits. Well, it's in a way, isn't it? They get their style of game is not going to change.
It's worked for them. It's worked for them for. How long's Dyche been there now? 6-7 years?
Yeah, they're such a bad sight to watch as well, aren't they?
It's not much fun, but
so the club have just announced that Elliot Anderson has joined Bristol Rovers on loan.
It's a surprise, that one.
Because he was making the the cup game against Cambridge. Was it Cambridge? Yeah, Cambridge.
Yes, it was. I
thought he would be starting that game.
He played Spurs. Was it Spurs last season he played?
I can't remember.
Down there?
Early in the season.
He came on, didn't he? I think.
Oh, no, that was. That was a penalty, wasn't it? When Eric Dyer headed the ball off.
Of course, never handball.
It wasn't.
Was that Lejeune?
Was it Lejeune? Oh no, it was someone headed the ball off Dyer, wasn't it? Well, it might be Lejeune. No, it was Kieran Clark.
Can't remember.
But it was, it was
Probably
ridiculous
fucking
penalty. Like,
Yeah,
it was a ridiculous penalty. But I don't know.
Spurs, I might have made that up. I can just
Arsenal
remember
apparently there's a show for Arsenal, but I might be lying there.
Is that another example of a player not being as good as we thought?
That's Matty. If Matty's saying it's Arsenal, it probably was Arsenal.
Yeah, I think it was Arsenal.
Speaking of Matty Longstaff has gone to, I think, Mansfield.
That hasn't been announced yet, but that's
that was the talk.
That's in the chat.
But again, is that an example? I mean, Matty Longstaff to go from being in our first team to Mansfield, does that mean that we aren't finding good loans for players? I've seen Amiobi got a bit of a shellacking in the comments earlier on before we had a little break there. Or is it that these players just aren't as good as... Is this the level that they are?
Well, that's Shola's job at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, loan manager.
That's a shame for Matty, though. Like, if you think of him personally, as you said, scoring against Man United
twice,
alongside your brother in midfield, thinking, is this going to be my kickstart? Next thing you shut off Aberdeen, that hasn't worked, and now you're at Mansfield. It's not good.
It's a strange one.
It is.
Given the number 4 as well at the start of last season, or start of this season, whatever it was, that's just so.
Honestly,
I don't understand.
I felt sorry for him. I remember when he got brought into the team against big opposition. It felt like we had the shitter teams, and he wasn't playing. Then it was Chelsea away. Matty, you're starting this week. I'm like, fuck yeah. Well, I'm seeing you in 10 weeks, and you're playing against Chelsea away. But I could never honestly say that he had a dreadful game. Does that make sense? I always thought he was busy trying his best. I'm not saying he's good enough by any stretch. What I'm trying to say is that I never watched him and thought, you are absolutely awful, you. Whereas I've actually thought about Hendrick. Yeah, and I know Hendrick scored goals, and I know he has, but I've watched Hendrick and thought, Jesus, how are you made a professional? But when I've seen Matty, I'm like, no, there's something there. But clearly not as much as what I'm thinking, because Aberdeen wouldn't touch him in the end. So
he's had a rotten time, hasn't he?
And you think strange. Mansfield, I mean, God, you would think there'd be better out there that he could go to, you would think.
Yeah.
But he should go there and get regular first team football, which is exactly what he needs.
When he went to Scotland.
So I think it's probably just too far for him.
Sorensen going to Aberdeen's. No, it's not that far away.
A
mile.
Aberdeen.
Well, what difference does it matter how far away he is?
Because he's a young lad away from his home. He's used to be in his mum and dad's spare room.
Allegedly.
I think he still did live at home.
Did he?
Yeah. Oh, well, unlucky.
So Mansfield's only, just down the road.
It's not
just down the road.
It's East Midlands.
It's closer than
Aberdeen.
I bet there's not much in it.
I bet there is. It's about 3 hours to
car or
Mansfield.
train, what we're talking about.
Right.
I already could fly to Aberdeen.
Get your maps on.
You can fly to
put
Aberdeen
Mansfield
in an hour.
Right? And I'll put Aberdeen on my maps.
Still expected Jeff Hendrick there, QPR.
Right, so
Aberdeen is just more of the arsehole of nowhere, isn't it? Whereas Mansfield, you're in the middle of the...
So if we're going to Aberdeen, right, it is going to take 4 hours drive. Well, 4.5 hours.
That's
4.5 hours.
Yeah,
Mansfield, 2 hours 35.
There you go. See?
But 2 hours? What's 2 hours, though?
It's 4.5 hours, not 2 hours.
Oh, right, no, 2 hours difference.
Aye.
But if you're going to be away from home, what difference does it make how far away you are?
That's mad, that. I don't understand. My wife drove 4 hours to say her dad today, and it's like, it's not that far, really.
It is if you're doing it every week.
Well, if you're doing it every day for training, you'd have to leave damn early. Like you would.
I dare say he's not going to be living at his mum and dad's and
no, he's not. He'll be in digs, but it's just the. I just think he's probably been a bit homesick. It hasn't gone the way that he wanted to up there, and I get him down there and give him another opportunity. If it doesn't work out, then you wonder whether he is going to do it.
Let's be very honest.
He's not going to have a future, is he?
How can he?
Not at Newcastle. I wouldn't vote in Newcastle.
We're about signing Brunos of the world, and we're looking at Jesse Lingard's, right? And then we're talking about kind of player who's going to Mansfield. Couldn't he come back and do a job? It's
unless
impossible.
He has an absolutely raker half season there, and we go down, and we shed all these players out of port, and he ends up like,
yes, that's the only way.
If we stay up, and with all the goodwill in the world, he's Matty and probably Sean aren't going to be in the plans. Even like short, medium term. And
that's what I mean. So it's better for him. The fact is in the summer, he could have walked away for nothing because he was out of contract, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Just by tying him up to something.
Does
then
that make
you're
that
going to get
feel all more weird, though, mate? That whole thing of Bruce.
Well, especially the way Bruce went on about
yeah,
this.
that just didn't make any sense at all to me. That he made such a massive song and dance. And he had left the club, was meant to be going to Udinese, wasn't it? That was the whole thing. Watford's
very far away, that mind.
Yeah, it's very far.
Yeah, can't get trained there.
No.
Yeah, so, you know, but he was meant to be going to Udinese, then / be on loan to Watford and all that shit. And then that didn't happen. Bruce then come out all wax lyrical, give him number 4, give him a new contract, and then went, actually, no, I got Aberdeen. It just didn't make, and none of it made sense to us.
It was really odd.
He did get his
4 hours drive.
He did get his injury and COVID and everything after that.
What number do you want? Yeah. I'll take a 4. Right. What's 4 hours away?
Ironically, everybody got a number 4 this season.
Hey, well done, Mark. That's the best thing you ever said. That was really funny.
So, like we said earlier on, Sky are making this big song and dance right now.
It's B&M,
and no song and dance.
Rightly so, to be honest with you, kicking out.
That was bad timing for that sentence. It really was. So Sky are making a song and dance about that there's only 20 minutes left at the transfer window. But like, it's been a pretty shit deadline day.
Let's be fair. The best part was the pizza.
Does it?
Does it work?
Like, there's 19 minutes left. We haven't announced Dan Burn yet.
It's when the paper.
No, the paper.
Jelly Ali hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah, but the paper.
He's been there all day.
Yeah.
There's still a few that are still.
You've got to remember, we're living like it's 2022 now. So the club's biggest thing now is announcement videos and interviews and stuff like that.
Now, it's
so this is what the delay probably is.
Did you also
need that?
Oh, we've had a Dan Burn graphic ready for 2 days.
Did you see Bruno's Instagram? Sorry, apologize, Twitter. It was really
unreal. He's just literally blew St. Maxim out of the water.
Like it was.
Not only did yesterday, it was cracking that the guy.
Oh, sorry, I meant the one the day. Was I wrong? Sorry, was it today? The one was like a phone, and it was like
yesterday.
It was yesterday. I only seen it today.
A lot of Arsenal fans aren't happy with that.
It's brilliant.
It puts the boot in a couple of times.
It does feel as at the very start of it. As if
do you think it does, or do you think they're just putting headlines in there?
I don't know. You could probably put headlines in without mentioning a club.
Or you could have mentioned all the other clubs that he was linked with, because he was also linked with Spurs. He was linked with Juventus. Didn't make any mention of those ones.
You keep on putting it. Tell you, I'm like, who's saying now?
Paris Saint-Germain got beat on pens. 0-0, man. How are you, man?
Nice.
Nice.
I thought you were pointing at the sheets there. I thought,
he looks old.
Mads Mikkelsen. He's a good age.
I know. What was I going to say, Bruno? Yes. So one of the videos I watched of him was, listen, mate, not a rant here or anything, but it's very easy, I think. I remember Gabriel Obertan, right? Who I still think got too much shit, but that's just my opinion. Everyone think I'm wrong. I went on YouTube and watched a video of Gabriel Obertan. It was little bits of all of like Marseille to Man United, you know, and it can make me look good on a video like that. However, there was a video of Bruno which was just one game.
Yeah.
And that was the one that excited us because I'm thinking, fucking hell, like that's just one game here. That
similar like Joe V Man U, wasn't it?
Yes, I suppose you could put that together. Now, I was saying to Gareth, I was like, it reminded me personally of like a Santi Cazorla for Arsenal type of player. That's what it reminded me of. He mentioned Bruno Fernandes. Some of his passing was just like Bruno Fernandes, to be fair. But the reason why I loved that highlight clip was because it was one game and you were seeing many stuff. And what was really funny, all in the comments, he'll be mint upgrade on Xhaka. Can't wait to get him in the summer. And that was what was quite, and it is amazing that we've managed to pinch a player that was linked to a club like Arsenal.
Arsenal will go well this season as well. Yeah, after a bit of a funny start.
My favourite thing is when those fans of that same club saw go, didn't really like him anyway. They didn't want him.
We would do it. We
that was the classic comment of, well, Arsenal obviously didn't want to sign him.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe not.
Well, they obviously did.
But not now.
Well, they didn't.
Not now, obviously.
Well, I think
there's interest.
We know why. It's because they couldn't compete with.
Well, I think collectively
with Newcastle United.
Wow, say that again.
Because Arsenal couldn't compete with Newcastle United.
I love the sound of that, and like
we better get used to seeing it.
I know, but we've had a great January transfer window. Could have been that little bit better, and like I said, I think the cherry on top of the cake would have been Lingard coming in. But if we still, even if we don't stay up, if you look at the summer, it's going to be a fantastic summer forward as well.
I think so. I think that whatever happens, they'll strengthen. Or they'll be, if not strengthened, if you go down, you certainly make yourself as strong as you possibly can be for that division. And I've got no, and maybe it's arrogance, maybe it's a little bit kind of misplaced. But if we do go down, I do think we'll be all right. I'm pretty confident.
There we'll have it. 22-45. Newcastle announce. Dublin. It's on the club's social media account.
Done deal.
Done deal. All sorted.
It's taking a while.
Maybe buzzing him money. Like would have been Newcastle.
Absolutely fantastic move for him. Yeah, that's probably going to be his. Does he need another move after this? I think it's a 2.5-year deal. That's what rumored.
29, isn't he?
He's still got time after that, but I would hope he'd be thinking, you know, I want to still be here. You know, the 2.5 years is up. Can I get a year extension type of? If he does well enough, if he does well enough, you know, you'd hope he does. I understand the modern games. You know, you watch like some Man City and that, and it's all pass. But like, I would love to have a centre half that can come up and cause trouble on a corner. Like, you know what I mean?
He doesn't though.
Well, he scored the other week for Everton. Sorry, against Everton. Sorry,
he doesn't have a very good goal scoring record.
Oh, he might
considering his height.
His height, yeah. But you know, I'm just saying, like, I feel like on a corner, but like Undertaker and Kane, man, wouldn't him go up front? Like, just get them up there and big lads get it.
Well, I think that's what'll maybe help with more is that although he mightn't score, it gives them somebody else to worry about as well as Wood. The fact that you have got two absolutely massive, tall fellas there, you're going to put your two best headers of the ball on them, which then still leaves what other centre half. It leaves Joe,
Lascelles,
Wilson, whoever.
Well, actually, here's a question then. So, Bournemouth have signed Todd Cantwell. I probably saw that. But anyway,
they're all coming in now.
Would you, in terms of the defence now, then with him coming in, is it him and Shea?
Liverpool close to signing Fabio Carvalho as well. Where did that one come from?
It's been doing it for a couple of hours. That one.
It's never been on the screen.
He's literally been like showing playing football, like football his Fulham shirt and all that. Like that.
That's because I keep looking at it. I'm looking at you instead of the telly.
The defence then. So obviously they were going Newcastle United signed Byrne as Chris said. Does he come in and start alongside Shea, or do you think it's still going to be Lascelles and Shea, and maybe he comes on a little bit? Like, what do you think of the back four then? Well, sorry, the centre halves of the back four.
I think we're signing him is the intention. He's been after a left-footed centre half, hasn't he?
If you
I love that. I do love that.
Oh, we'll go with four at the back.
Yes,
100%.
Who we're going with then?
It's Trippier, Shea, Byrne, and Target.
Wow. Now that's what I would love to see, but I cannot see it.
That would be mine as well. Yeah, or Fernandez instead.
It has to be.
Well, so you're dropping your captain immediately after January.
And I'll put the question to you, and I'll ask you, Bestie. Is Byrne better than Fernandez?
I don't know. Maybe. I really don't know. All I've got to go off really is when I've seen him obviously playing for Brighton, and the kind of the opinion that Brighton's fans have of him would suggest to me that we've got a good one. If he's better than Fernandez or not, I really don't know. I think he's better than Lascelles and Kieran Clark.
Yeah.
And they've been, one of those who played pretty much every game this season, I would hazard a guess. So he comes in for me. Like,
that was my concern. I mean, I've already said that when we got linked with him, is that I'll get behind him, support him, but I don't know whether or not he's better than what we've got available, i.e. Fernandez. He's definitely better than Clark. Mm-hmm. Better than Lascelles, you would imagine. Better than Dummett.
But
so
I'll throw this one.
He's much more comfortable on the ball.
Statistically,
than
he looks. Statistically, I saw that. I don't know if it was in our group or another one I'm in. Real mates. It was a comparison between quarter you say goalkeeper.
You got that.
Between Byrne and Lascelles, and Byrne totally blows them out of the water. And all but goals and maybe passes. No.
Passes miles ahead.
There was another one. It might be it was clearances. I think that's probably just because we play the back foot so much. I have done.
Yeah. I think the question which I have to ask now, Decker, is: has Eddie Howe got the bollocks to drop Lascelles?
I think he has got the bollocks to do it if he wants to.
Because I can't sign these players and not have bollocks to drop.
Exactly, you can't.
I think because there are so many new players in there, that isn't quite the double-edged sword that it would have been. If you still had like Kieran Clark on the team, if you had like the nucleus of the Championship side that we've had for so long and still have a bit of, Richie, whoever, the players that have played with themselves for a long time, because we've replaced a lot of those or upgraded them, you don't risk, I don't think, upsetting as many players, because Bruno hasn't got a relationship with Lascelles. Trippier won't really have one. Wood won't really have one. Target won't really have one. So yeah,
now was the time to drop them.
I think so. Like, I'll bit him off.
So yeah, because
he went off injured at the weekend as well. Remember,
but he'll be fine, I think. But I always cast my mind back there, and I've said this for weeks. Is the Kevin Keegan situation? I'm actually reading Andy Cole's autobiography at the moment, and he mentions when obviously Keegan pulled him to one side and said, "Oh, we're going to sell X, Y, Z."
Yeah.
And Andy Cole couldn't believe it. He's like, "What on earth are you thinking about getting rid of him for? Like, everybody loves him." That's completely different than the Lascelles situation. But what I'm trying to say is that a manager has to be brave, I think, in these moments. And I think Howe was talking about the other day, going to Saudi and speaking to the the owners and stuff, and the ambition that they had, he was so impressed with. But then he made a very key comment I thought was, I can't think that far ahead. Like, I need to think about Saturday coming.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have to live in the minute, not in the 5 years' time, because I might not be here. But Howe, obviously, in the back of his mind, will want to be that guy that's here in 5 years' time.
Undoubtedly, aye.
So the only way to be that guy is getting rid of your shitter players. And that, for me, is if you've signed Byrne and you believe in him, you have to drop the Lascelles. That's my opinion.
Was Andy Cole talking about David Kelly?
He was, yes.
I was trying to think who was sold. Well, Cole was sold. Yeah, that would have been
It was. Remember I said Gavin...
Kelly and Peacock would have been the two biggins, like.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And then about Peter Beardsley, much said he just couldn't believe in Andy Cole. Talks so highly about Peter Beardsley. I can imagine.
So you mentioned there that that's 5 players that are going to probably come in and take starting roles in that starting 11.
I'd say, yeah, until Wilson's fit, I think Wood starts every game, yeah.
Can you say, he's not going to change the club captain right now, but if Lascelles isn't getting his game, does it go to Shelby or does it go to Trippier?
I think Trippier.
It should go to Trippier.
I think it will.
But
when Lascelles went off against Leeds, who did it go to? Shelby.
Trippier asked for it.
Yeah.
And it went to Shelby.
Trippier seems to have a lot of
Dubravka went to give it to
Trippier.
But Shelby took it.
But he is the vice captain, isn't he, Shelby?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Trippier does seem to have a lot of the kind of attributes that he'd want.
100%.
I mean, 100%. I think I said before, after the cup match, Cambridge, even before the game, in the warm-up, he's talking to people, he's high-fiving people, he's getting them ready for the game. And Lascelles has been that. Lascelles has been let's say for half his captaincy, he has been a great captain. I've made the point in the past where I've said Lascelles is a better captain as a footballer, because I think when you had it a couple of years ago, when you had him, Fernandez, Shea, again, those players that either came up with them or came just afterward, he got a lot out with them. And I thought we were a better team with him at centre half, but I think that's gone now.
I also think as well, and this might sound stupid, but you got Lascelles as captain. I just can't believe Trippier would be like someone like Trippier, who the level he's at, is looking to his left and thinking, taking orders off him as a captain.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
Trippier wore the captain's armband in Saudi.
He did, yeah. He did. Obviously, Lascelles wasn't.
Yeah.
Playing. Did he play? He didn't play any of that. Did he play any of that? I could have sworn I seen him a picture of him. Come on, but it couldn't have. Could he?
Remember?
I think he did. No, I think he did. Come on.
Yeah, I thought because I seen someone pass the ball forward. That's Lascelles. Like as soon as I seen.
I'm sure he was on when Clark had his scrap. Right. I'm sure he gave the ball to him.
But again, about moving forward and trying to be better. Like, of course, Trippier should be captain. But then again, I mean, if it comes down to how, doesn't it, in terms of if he wants to drop the captain. And then we also just mentioned there about Shelby being vice captain. How many times have you seen in a season that a captain and your vice captain get changed halfway through the season? Yeah. And especially when your vice captain plays every week. Shelby will always play. Under how Shelby will always play until the day comes where he moves on as well.
If we go down this season, which we could, very, very realistically could happen. Does Trippier stay? Does he go? And then if you drop Shelby, if you make Trippier captain now, then Trippier goes. Shelby stays if you go down. Is it there's the armband, John Joe? Yeah. Is he going to fuck it off? Or?
Yeah, do you think Shelby might? Because doesn't particularly strike us as somebody that's that arsed about being the captain. Do you think he could just say?
I could imagine he would be. Like, he'd be quite proud of it. Like,
I mean, never like really.
What you mean? He doesn't go around banging his chest and shouting the ball.
Yeah, like he's not like
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
A leader is such on the leader and organizer. Whereas Trippier's done that from the minute that he arrived on the pitch and in that cup game and stuff like that. So,
are you waving at? Are you waving at Dan Burn?
I think so.
Scarlett Moffat.
Ridiculous that.
So who it is?
You what? Sorry?
Does look a bit like her.
Who?
What? Oh,
I don't know. I was just having a private conversation with him. But
can I just say though, Brighton have put a tweet on saying, "Good luck, Dan Burn. The defender has complete transfer NUFC for an undisclosed fee." The comment on that, and this is what we look at quite a bit, see what reactions are like from the fans of the club which are purchasing the player from. They seem to be gutted.
Oh, that's quite nice, that one.
Aye, they seem to be gutted.
Goodbye,
the Brighton fans.
He's played well for them this season, and I think that's he's always been steady and dependable. Like,
they've also said they followed that up. So they replied to Newcastle's announcement saying, "Smash it at your boyhood club, Dan. Wishing you all the best."
That's nicer than that. Like, I wish I got a champion scarf because I feel as if we're
It's hanging behind you, mate. No keeping that.
That's behind me. No one's saying that. Like, it's
Yeah, no, I think that is a good point because normally you would say, "Oh, thank God we've got rid of him." I kind of believes they've paid 13 million or whatever.
Yeah.
These type of comments, but it does seem to be that they seem to be quite upset that he's gone actually, which is good for us, I guess. Really.
Yeah.
What's that like they said? It's because he wants to come back and join his boyhood club.
He would have never thought. He said club just like Rafa there.
Club.
Yeah.
Club.
At that age in his career, when he was at Brighton, I bet he never thought in a million years that this would become.
No.
Well, especially since he sacked off the going to Fulham.
Well, Mark will hate him next week then. And what I've got a question about gelling then. So you've mentioned 5 players coming in.
Don't ask these two.
Yeah, sure. I won't ask.
I like that one.
That was
mate.
really good. Do you think is there any issues with them gelling together to go right Tuesday? All the best to you. Get on with it.
Professional footballers on that, like, surely it can't be that hard.
Well, look what Ryan.
we've got a bit of Cambridge, so it's hard
Bestie
enough.
won't know. This will be news, complete news to Bestie. This, but when Ryan Taylor was on the podcast, he said he never had any issues with any player except one person at his club that he didn't get on with people.
Shit, I literally was there hosting the podcast with. I can't remember who he said.
Did you see who it
You
was?
remember?
Is it clear?
Former England international
For us.
who gave him a kick.
Oh,
awful.
Sol Campbell. Yeah,
Sol
Campbell
Campbell's
went
the only
in-
arsehole he's ever came across in his team. And
He went in pretty hard with him in training. He injured him.
Right, Sol Campbell
Hates him.
He was
He
pretty
fucking
fat
hates
when
him.
he
He
came.
literally hates him.
Actually, you're right. He did
He
hate him.
fucking
man.
hates him.
But you would think, you would hope that.
I think
these
he
won't have
doesn't
that.
hate him necessarily for the challenge, but he didn't apologise afterwards.
Yeah.
And he
the
said
way
never
that
spoke to
went
each other.
went
after
on.
that.
And
Did you know Andy Cole and Terry Sheringham were similar for that one? Did you know why? Did
Yeah, it was something to do getting substituted, wasn't it?
Substitute for England, and Andy
Yeah.
Cole was coming on for his first game, and Sheringham kicked off, coming off, and didn't even
didn't shake his hand.
shake
No
hand
way.
out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
never spoke, ever. All the Man United times that went by, never spoke, hated them.
Yeah, they really did.
Mad that
I heard that Teddy
2016.
Sheringham doesn't have to shave,
doesn't have to shave.
apparently.
Has he got some sort
No
of
one has to
genetic
shave.
issue where his hair doesn't grow?
Yeah, well,
Chris
obviously-
has got that.
So his face.
His head.
yeah, apparently doesn't have to shave. I've also got a mate who's, this is a urban myth, got no pubes but hairy balls.
No abuse with hairy balls.
Apparently so,
Do you know that for a fact?
No.
That is weird, that isn't
I
it?
found that out in Gdansk. I think it might be bullshit, but it's just a nice little.
We've got 2 minutes left of the transfer
Was it-
window, and now we're talking about your mate who can't
that's
grow
me.
pubes, but he's got hairy
Did you hear
balls.
about the bloke who
Bollocknails.
apparently can't sweat?
Oh,
It's a bit like that.
Oh, that nonce.
Allegedly.
No, definitely nonce. We don't have to say allegedly he's a nonce.
But not, Sheringham, apparently doesn't need to shave.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah, no.
it's rare that people won't get on behind the scenes because they're all in their training together and having a laugh, and they'll have fallings out and stuff like that. But I think that's something that Howe has talked about, that he looks at with players as their character and how they'll fit into the team and that
Something
kind of thing
Bobby
as well.
Robson
So
said that you buy the man first,
Mhm.
the player second.
That was something that Rafa kind of had as well. He would always kind of ask how a player's family was and stuff like that, and what they're up to and that, and basically you're buying like a character as well as a footballer.
Mark, your friend, apparently has had a transfer.
which
So-
time's that?
So apparently Slimany has gone.
Slimany.
Slimany has gone to. I'm just going
Is
off
he
what
still
people are saying in
alive?
the comments.
Jesus.
He has gone
He must be older than Jermaine Defoe.
Sport Lisbon.
Really?
Apparently so.
That's a big move for him.
I'm
right?
just going off. Somebody might be lying to us.
Where
Yeah,
from?
like, but
Where was he?
Aldi.
He cost Leicester a fortune as well, though, didn't he?
Yeah,
when
he
they
did,
bought
aye,
him?
cost
A lot of
money,
money.
aye.
A
I
lot
bet he's
of money.
been playing somewhere like Qatar or Turkey or something
I
like
was thinking
that.
Turkey. but
See, I tell you, they've
Russia.
done this to get to the end.
Somebody just
Been the
said.
last person.
Mary Dad has tweeted, "Don't tell Decker."
Yeah, well, no, I have seen
You
it.
just showed us on your
Yeah,
phone.
and that's fine. That's fine, honestly. I don't mind that stuff. It's just like, I don't know, you just got to be careful what you put on, in my opinion. Because
So-
it will come back, it bites in sometimes now. And
Yeah.
everyone was like, Maxi's the greatest, and he is still the greatest. But like, people were like, oh, Maxi's on Twitter, like having a right go at someone, and normally he's pretty damn good at it.
It's
Oh,
really
he's got a
funny.
sport.
It's really funny.
Was it Lisbon or Leon?
He's the best man.
Was it Sport Leon? Is that a thing?
Olympic Leon.
Olympic Leon. That's
Everyone-
where
Oh, he was at
Ndondele's
Leon.
gone.
People are saying he was at Leon.
He was at Leon.
40 seconds.
Right.
He's gone from
We'll
Leon.
bid from Mbappe. 40 seconds to go. Yeah, we'll get him in.
That was a Mike Ashley trick, that wasn't it? And now
Right.
before, I'm sending me helicopter somewhere.
What happened? Was it on Zombie? I was trying to buy one. So Carroll was the most random
well,
thing.
also-
Sold.
We saw Carroll and we were going
That
to
kid that
buy
went
Zombie.
at Fulham, the striker.
Oh, Brian Ruiz.
Ah,
Brian
Yeah.
Ruiz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get all helicopters en route to get him.
Yeah.
Had a few of them. Like, have we?
Told you we're going to finish with that one.
Remember the Baggio shirt in the back of the car? That
Dele
time?
Alli still hasn't been announced. Like,
It's done that sort of thing, but that's it. So transfer window is all closed. If we're going to mark this out at 10, start with you, Mark.
7.5.
We're not doing points.
7.
7.
7.
Decker.
8. 8. Yeah.
I was going to say 7.5 as well, but given that we can't, I'm going to say, oh, fucking hell, I've got to side with one, lads. Yeah, and I'm always having a go at Mark, but I was going to say 8. It's a bit of difference, but now 8.
8.
Bit under 8, but more than 7.
7.5.
I'll let you go with 7.5. We'll meet halfway.
7 and 2/5.
What would Lingard, is that pushing it right up to a 9?
Yeah. For me, yeah.
For me, if we, because let's face it, Dan Burns came in. He's not the one that we wanted. We had Carlos and Botman were the two that we were heavily linked with and wanted to go for. Again, left back targets came in. He's not the one that we wanted, but it's where we are. It's a body in through the door.
Improvements as well, though. I mean,
it is, and that's why I'm saying it's still a good window to 7.5 because
some people
the solid
4, 6.
It's better.
Just harsh.
Literally, like even if we'd have just say like Trippier and Bruno for me are two amazing signings. Like honestly, I think Bruno is going to be absolutely fantastic for us.
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm
January 31st, 23:02.
And look, I'll even go back to when we first got linked with him. Well, probably a week and a half ago, something like that.
Bruno.
And I said, "There's no way on earth we sign him," because honestly, I didn't think we had a cat in hell's chance because. And my words were, he's far too good for us.
It was amazing. I said this from the start a week and a half ago. It was like 10
well, that's
years
because
ago. No,
that was when he first got linked because it came out of nowhere, and I didn't give her a cat in hell's chance of signing him.
On what though? What have you watched? Did you watch him play?
Just from what I've seen and heard of him through the people that I follow on Twitter, like that are scouts, people that look at the stats of things and the performances and that kind of thing, he's way up there. Like literally, well, as everybody's now seen, since we have kind of been linked with him and had all of the stats that come around. He's passing forward. How much he
do you say around twice here? Can we start around?
I think
that's amazing.
I don't know, but just the way that he gets us, his progressive passes, the amount of ground he covers, he's what we've massively been missing. How many times have we sat around this table and talked about not replacing Mo Diarmi? He is Mo Diarmi, but 20, 30 times better than him. He is a player that
I don't say it's Mo Diarmi whatsoever, though. Man.
Arsenal wanted to sign.
Yeah,
Spurs wanted to sign because, with the exception of probably. Well, Man City and Chelsea, to some extent Liverpool, he walks into any other team in the Premier League.
This is what a lot of the fans were saying, that he could easily walk into a team 100% for Europe.
I mean, that's very exciting to hear that. I'm honestly, I feel quite ignorant because I don't know how I heard him until last week.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
So I'm very excited by the idea of it, but we'll wait and see.
The lad at Wolves who you love, who I also love.
Ruben Neves, yeah.
Yeah. Now, listen, don't get... I'm
different, slightly different players, though.
All right, maybe. Maybe. Like, I'm not saying I would rather sign him. I'm not. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that you're saying like he'll walk into any team that's in Europe other than Man City and Liverpool and stuff. I have to be honest with you. I can't say that because I haven't seen him play. My opinion doesn't count for shit. I'm nobody. But all I'm saying is I cannot sit here and say, oh, he's going to be unbelievable. I don't know who he is. But what I would say, of course, going off other journalists, other people in the game, you know, are
people
saying,
excited by it, aren't they?
Are saying like, wow, this is a real coup. It's a real good signing, and that's fantastic to hear. Of course it is. And I feel as if I'm sitting here not wanting to agree with this nonsense. That is not the case. And I want him to be unbelievable. I want him to be better than Kabay.
You don't play for Brazil if you're shit.
Well,
how are you?
There's my mum looking for
how are you?
We timed that really well.
How are you? The age that he is,
Fred. for Brazil.
Hang on, who was the last player that we signed from Brazil that played for?
Kachapa.
No,
There was one of them. There was a shit one.
Fumaca.
No, there's only Kasapa had a cap in Mirandina. The rest of them weren't.
Everybody's seen Fred
weren't internationals.
Fred is
There'll be more before Fred went to Man United, he was good. He's shit at Man United, isn't he?
Who do you play for before?
Well, that doesn't give us any. Bruno here. You're just sitting there wanking about Bruno, and he was good. Great before he went to Man United.
Bruno, he's got everything to be a Premier League. He'll suit this league because of the way that he plays as well. That
I feel like you've seen him play all the time.
Covers a hell of a lot of ground. He'll cover.
Must be in the German league.
He'll cover a hell of a lot of the pitch. When you see his movement and the amount of miles and that, well, not miles, but meters that he puts.
Almiron will do that for you.
He can, yeah.
Well, that's so moving on from Bruno, right? Where does this leave Almiron now?
Oh, he's on
the bench, and
he's on the bench to come on as an impact.
If he makes it on.
If that.
So I'll tell you what then. Oh my God, we've got 10 minutes.
We'll go for 9.
So
we'll go for a 10. I was hoping that was going to be something more interesting. So we'll go for another 10.
By half past to announce all of the deals, you would have thought.
The starting 11, the 11 that we foresee being the 11 moving forward. Other than injury and suspension. Yeah, let's just say this is the 11 we're going to run with. What do you think it is? Obviously, we'll keep
back four. I said before, so Dubravka in goal, Trippier, Shea, Byrne, Taggart.
Jeffrey Taggart.
Taggart. Let's bring a murder. Shelby.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Bruno.
You're taking the piss.
Joe Linton. Ryan Fraser.
You were talking about detectives earlier.
Alan St. Maximin. And Callum Wilson.
So is Bruno more defensively? Will he be in front of the back four or a bit further forward?
So I think he'll play. I think Shelby will play
the
bottom of the three.
The
two in front with Joe Linton and Bruno. But then, as we've said, Joe Linton's then interchangeable. But he can. The thing is, with now having those three there, they can swap position and move around and pivot. That's the fashionable word at the minute, isn't it?
Dang it!
You ready?
Yeah. That was amazing.
Has he been talking about Poirot?
You knew who I meant. Next week he'll be a right back now, and you Poirot.
Oh no, he's a target.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I'll have to watch that before bed.
I'd still rather have Lewis there though.
What than Taggart?
Fair play.
So
I got it.
Yeah, so obviously you said the back four a few times. You used to think that'll be the back four, yeah?
I hope so. I would like that to be the back four, yeah.
Do you think? I know you didn't hope, but do you think?
I don't know. It's hard to say because I mean,
the
Cells seems to be quite highly regarded by how he's not dropped them yet, and it's 11.
Is that because he's trying to keep his confidence quite high?
I think how Hope's is still injured, so he can just stick Dunn in. Sorry, Burn. Sorry, I'm getting like him now. I would. Another thing I wanted to say ages ago. I used to get annoyed sometimes. You go on Twitter or any social media, really, and as soon as you sign a player, he's in on these little
the lineup things.
All right, no matter, nobody knows who he is, what he's playing, even if he's fit, he's in. Yeah. Well, but he has to start, and
that's why I'm saying I'd still have Lewis at left.
Oh, and he can't even get on now, man, can he?
Well, he's not going to be in the squad, is he?
But then I bet a million people, not a million, but a lot of people after Mankey was 20 minutes, we go, "Why just start Mankey there? He was great." Like,
yeah, that would happen, like definitely.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a bit, Anyway, probably the back four. Yes. What's happened here? What's happened here? Put on the screen. It's good.
I've lost it. Keegan Muse said Taggart playing alongside Sherlock Holmes.
Brilliant.
Decent.
That was really good. That was great. Midfield then. So I think it'll be 4-3-3, I believe.
I bet Keegan got me Lewis reference.
So probably. The midfield, Joe Linton, if he's fit. Shelby and Bruno.
Seems to be
from the off, we think, yeah.
Yeah. Bruno 100% goes straight into our midfield.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then we're up front for now. For now, I mean,
it'll be Wood.
Has to be.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still a little bit worried about scoring goals.
It's probably a
thing
fair
is,
comment.
when you look at the games that points that we've thrown away from winning positions, I'm not saying scoring goals hasn't been a problem because it has, but we have done it. We've scored goals and thrown them away or thrown leads away.
Yeah.
So I think
we've only scored like one though.
Yeah, but we've still. I think we needed to strengthen both, like, the whole team really. And I would like to have had someone, Lingard, come in or Mikel Antonio or someone like that.
Back then,
I'm banging that drum, lads. I'm banging that drum.
I really hope we're signing one day for you.
I know.
Just one day.
I'll sign him on FIFA.
We'll get him on here. We'll get him on here.
When he's as old as Jermaine Defoe.
But I think the defense was the bit that if you had to devil's out, which one do you must strengthen the defense first before. I suppose with Burn, with Wood, I can't keep doing that all season, aren't I? We'll have strengthened up front a little bit. I definitely would have liked someone else, but I think defense was the more pressing of the two positions.
I do honestly think about scoring goals. You know, I do as well because Man United was 1-0, wasn't it? It was 1-1, but Man United scored 1. Watford was only 1. Leeds was only 1.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the argument of that as well. You only need 1 goal to win a game. That's the argument you could throw at it. But when was the last time we scored more than 2?
We've got something now.
I can't really remember, if I'm honest. So
we don't score more than 2 this season.
Oh, Brentford was 3-3, wasn't it? Yeah, 3-3.
Right,
so
yeah.
We've got something now that'll carry the ball forward and play the ball forward. That's what Bruno does, and that's what we've massively been missing. Is
a lot of eggs in this basket, Mark.
I'm telling you.
I hope you're right. I don't want to seem dismissive. I really hope you're right, but it just feels very. And I think I mentioned earlier. I think if Willock plays, maybe he becomes a better player for playing with Bruno, someone who's behind him who can kind of do a lot of the kind of whatever it is that Bruno does. But
that's Mark.
The difference is Willock is the one that arrives late, isn't he? So
if Bruno doesn't hit the ground running, then I think we might be in a lot of trouble.
No, I don't know. We haven't had him this season.
We'll have to adapt.
Fraser.
Have to adapt.
We've done pretty well, haven't we?
That's all the house.
Seems still playing, mate.
Fraser's done well. Fraser's done
really well.
Is there anything else to add before we start winding down now? Because we've been going for 3 hours 36 minutes.
I think just.
Chris, do we still?
Yeah.
Mark, I've always said we will.
Gareth? No.
Oh, you're negative. Get out.
Yes, I do.
Do you? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Don't fight them.
Is that conservative? Yes. Okay.
What, last season?
Aye.
I do. Yes, and I do think that the owners have really done the best and have tried the best.
So only just a handful of days ago, there's fans criticizing the owners and things like that. But I think right now
today on Twitter
it's ridiculous. They've had what 3-4 months to get ready for the first transfer window, and that being January, when Newcastle United are sat in the relegation zone.
And they've spent close to 100 million.
90 million pounds was spent. You cannot really criticise that.
I think it's fair to maybe it's not criticise. You can be
lessons to be learned.
Yeah. You can say it's not perfect and things could have been done a bit better, but under the circumstances, I think it's been all right. And that's 7-8 out of 10.
If do you know if Man United hadn't been arseholes in the let Lingard go, we would have signed him. It wasn't the case that we weren't willing to do this.
Exactly the same with Botman and Carlos. Those players wanted to come.
Yeah.
Botman's apparently put a statement out tonight that is very positive.
Yes, that's
about as well us. So I think all of that work had been done with the agents, with the players, and it's that final stumbling block has been the clubs because they've been greedy,
couldn't get over the line,
and wanted.
But having said that,
money.
I have to say I don't blame any club for not accepting a bid. If them don't want to sell their best player, then that's so be it.
That's it. That's what happens in January.
Just because my team wants them, they should accept. It's nonsense.
I think Grant Marshall sums this up, and he says his criticism of the owners is that they were a bit too ambitious.
That's been thrown about. Maybe the targets are too good.
Because they chased Botman for a long time. They chased Lingard all window, Diego Carlos, and Lingard. I know Al Walid got a bit of a hard time on Twitter yesterday for saying this. And I think there's some truth in it. What happened at the weekend over Man United's first team and certain players, I think that will have made them think, we can't afford to lose. And Van der Beek couldn't Everton the other day.
Yeah, I agree.
They've lost 2 players, rightly so. I'm not kind of saying they should, but I think if those things hadn't happened,
Different story.
I think Lingard maybe comes in, but that's football, isn't it? That's
I think it would be harsh to blame them and say that it's over ambitious, because you want them to be ambitious. You want them to go after players that, in the fact that the players want to come, it's not that they're being over ambitious. They're targeting players that will improve us and have got an interest in coming to
Well,
sign
we had
us.
the one player that
the
said
club.
no, and it wasn't down to league position or anything like that. That was down to him having a good career where he was at Rennes. He's the only player that
and
came
Van
out
der
and said
Beek,
no.
Van der Beek as well, who obviously
He
didn't want to have a relegation battle. So
But
join
the
the
rest of them,
relegation
the
rival.
ambitious targets, all wanted to come.
All wanted to come.
I'd almost say I give them 10 out of 10 for effort in terms of what they've tried to throw. I mean, they've been throwing 25 million or 30 million at Carlos, and Botman they've been after. They've like 25 million at the young kid today.
Yeah.
You know, the effort is 10 out of 10. I really feel like they've tried to strengthen in all areas. Obviously, it hasn't all panned out the way that them would have wanted, but I kind of criticise the
Something
effort.
that was a bit of a concern before the window that probably hasn't. It doesn't feel as if it hasn't come to pass. Was that people were worried that it was a bit too many chiefs, and that you've got to get this kind of plan put together, and then you've got to go to Saudi and say we need this money for that. That doesn't seem to have happened.
No, I agree. I was one of the first to say that. Yeah,
it feels as if that's kind of.
I still think we need the director of football sorted.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Like and I think by the summer, you hope by the summer that'll be sorted out.
Well, do you know? Apparently, the rumor was that it's going to be in the next couple of weeks. So
yeah.
Well, let's if there's a director of football that we've.
It's Ashworth apparently.
Well,
that's be the one.
He cannot walk away in the January transfer window from that club, because he's massively leaving them in the lurch when he's got
of course
that whole vision of what he wanted to do for them for that. They've had a decent window. So
I'm saying that you imagine there'll be some sort of handover period where someone else comes and he goes, right, here's what we're do what you want with that. Or it might not be.
Is that a thing? His cousin, whatever.
No, he's
coming in, but he's not as a director. He's just like kind of just a scout, basically.
Okay,
just extra body, I think.
Or like
I think the person that'll most benefit from the director of football is obviously Eddie Howe, from what George has been saying there around how busy he's been and how involved.
I think the thing that shocked me though, deadline day. Of course, we're hoping to get an attacking player in. Well, hopefully, we'll all want Lingard, but is the players refusing to go out on loan? That shocked me.
The Lewis situation
was very much so.
It shocked us as much as
that
anything.
Has shocked me.
Yeah, it has.
For a young player happy to not have a squad number, it's concerning for me that he's international footballer as well. He needs game time.
But see, I was thinking, is it because he wants to stay and fight for his
fight for your place? If you don't have a number,
he's not going to get a number. Then that's the.
But then there's one fewer player coming in than we thought would do, because one of those numbers
might still get it.
So that's presumably another squad place now up for grabs again. That wouldn't have been, or that we didn't think would be 6 hours ago.
If it's me, and people probably think I'm going to vendetta against this player, I wouldn't give Dummett the number. Apparently he's injured again.
I was still brought 5 in.
No, but we thought we were going to bring 6 in. At the start of today, we said, there'll be 3.
Yeah, 2 announcements on Lingard.
Burn, Taggart,
and your mate.
But was the 5 that were... The 5 that were said was Lewis, Clark.
We've signed 5 and we didn't sign your mate, 25 million. So that was the 6. That would have been the extra man we thought we were going to get, surely. We've signed 5 and there was one we should have got.
No, but I'm saying when we were talking about people that would miss out, we only named 5 anyway.
Come on. It was a while ago.
Clark, Lewis,
Hendrick,
Hayden, Hendrick,
Richie,
and the keeper.
And the keeper?
Woodman,
so that's your 5.
But you're saying Hayden, but that's not like... We're just saying...
but we're saying that because it would make sense.
I mean, it makes sense, don't
He
get
just
it
had
wrong.
surgery. You wouldn't blame them for
Yeah.
that. To be fair, he's probably thinking, like, that's the point. What's the point? Yeah, I'm going to probably make last game of the season. Like,
it doesn't make no sense.
It makes no sense. We've done it before. Who got injured last time? Was it Dummett? I was just thinking of a squad number second half of the season.
Yeah.
And I know it's a minute ago, but we normally do the envelope malarkey. We haven't done it this year, so I'm going to hide one out now.
Okay.
Who's going to be the best of the January signings that we've got, and who's going to be the worst, bestie?
I can tell you his answer.
Christ, yeah.
I hope.
Who's going to be the best of the 5, and who's going to be the worst of the 5? And worst sounds awful, but I'm just being honest.
Yeah. The best, I'm going to say, because of all the fanfare, Bruno. Based on what other people have said about him. The worst. I
think that's harsh. Like
I do as well.
Not live up to expectations. I don't know. A better word than worse. I don't know, but
I don't even know if that'll
least effective. Maybe, yeah. I don't want to sound negative when I say that, but you know what I mean.
I don't know, because you look at who's come in and they're all going to be in the first team. in my head, I'm thinking Wood, but then if he gets a handful of goals, then
yeah, it depends where your expectations are with him.
I
Because
think that's right.
I'll give you mine. So Trippier,
the best,
and Dan Burn.
Bernie Steven.
I think it's a horrible position to play in centre back, especially our defense right now. I know it's changed, but I think it's a horrible position to play in because you're going to get tarnished if you fuck up.
That'd go the same.
Bruno and Taggart for you.
Yeah.
Bruno and Taggart.
No, Burn.
Oh, Burn.
Yeah.
I thought you would have been.
And that's nothing against him as a player. I just think that the position that he's in, he's going to get penalised more for making errors.
I'm going to go for Bruno and Wood.
Yeah. I think the way Wood's getting off with a pass for me because he probably won't play the games where Wilson's fit.
Nah, he won't, 100%.
And that's why I think
he's getting a bit of a pass.
25 million. That's why I think it'd be the worst because he's doing that play. Oh, he's not even going to have any.
Unless
impact.
Wilson gets injured again, and it's not going to be.
Yeah.
Obviously,
he's got a month at least, hasn't he?
And I want Wood to come in and score 2 against. That doesn't mean that I want Wood to do bad. All I'm saying is, I think the others might have a bigger impact. That's just how I feel. And again, I'm only going on what you're saying about Bruno in terms of his opinion. You know,
that's why I'm saying around expectations, because if you're expecting him to come in and score, 2 or 3 goals every every couple of weeks, then yes, he is going to be disappointing because he won't do that. But if your expectations for him is that he's there, he gets people more involved with it, he creates chances for other, maybe he chips in with a goal or 2, then
hopefully hopefully not a single one of them underachieves or
absolutely, that's what we want. I want them all
because
to be,
I think every single one of them add something extra to that squad, and they're all upgrade on every single one.
They're all
the players that they're replacing.
If all 5 play, they're all improvements on. Exception of Wood, but obviously with Wilson being injured, he kind of gets a free pass.
He's better than Gale, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's an upgrade.
Yeah.
Right,
wouldn't Burn improve the squad, don't they?
Let's end it there. We've been going for 3 hours and 46 minutes. Thanks everybody who has tuned in. There's been nigh on 500 years throughout this, in and out. So
I wonder if everybody's stayed throughout from.
I think it has. I think the lowest we dropped was 350, and that's when we're eating with food. So there's been quite a few of them stuck there throughout it. Thanks a lot. If you do want to become a member of the channel, you can do so. It's as little as $2.99 a month, and it helps us out. Buys what pizzas and shit. That's Decker. Well, actually, it was the other thing which your code didn't work.
Well, I bought it.
So
it's all right.
But yeah, thanks everybody. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time. Everton coming up next.
Hello, lads.
Another huge game.
We'll be back before that.
Massive.
Bye.